Recording in progress.
I'm completely on meeting. I'm going to start in a half. Thanks. Oh, we're going to have it up until the afternoon. Thanks after one. Thanks, thanks, bye.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning. Oh, Chairman.
Maybe the chairperson wants to be
We are
greeted in
meeting you
Afrikaans. with-
unmute, Chairman, man.
Maybe he wants to be greeted in Afrikaans. Whip.
Goeiemorgen, voorzitter.
Morning, Ageng, Bagaitso.
Goeiemorgen, voorzitter.
Morning.
Goeiemorgen, voorzitter.
Morning.
Is everything ahead?
Yeah, everything is
Wana weta.
Wana wajaifa.
Aye.
Good morning, Minister.
Good morning. I see we speak Afrikaans. Goedemorgen, voorzitter. Goedemorgen,
Ja.
alle
Morning,
leden
Minister.
Goeiemorgen,
van het parlement.
Minister. En
Elpies.
hoe gaat dat, Minister?
Het gaat baie goed. Het gaat voor uw wind. Dat gaat net zo goed met u.
Goedemorgen allemaal. En hoe gaat dit vandaag? Het is vrijdag vandaag.
Ons is alle goed.
Whip, they call the minister layer. They call
You
minister
must-
layer there. Hoe gaat het layer?
You must teach me
Leer.
Afrikaans.
Ja, is
Goeiemorgen,
layer.
Leer.
Minister, you must
I'm
teach me
very happy
Afrikaans.
the meeting is going to be in Afrikaans today. I'm very happy about that. Thank you so
You
much,
must
members.
teach me Afrikaans because people beat me when I say thank you. I say buy a donkey.
Baie donkies.
Ja, ik praat Afrikaans. Ik vat
But you say buy a donkey.
No, it's thank you.
Sichangana ishiburu.
There you are alone there in Shangani. Asikuvi.
Jay, please inform whether we are a quorum so that we can start.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members. Everyone on the platform, yes, Chair, we do have a quorum. Thank you.
So we can start.
Yes, we can start, Chair.
Thank you so much. Good morning, honorable members. Good morning, Minister and guests, everyone. We are going to start with our meeting. I will later on to the official welcome, but I first want to deal with the agenda of the day, which will be welcoming, introductions, apologies, and adoption of the draft agenda, overview by the Department on the Performing Arts Center of the Free State, where the Minister comes from, briefing by the Department and Performing Arts Council of the Free State on the victimization of employees, allegations of corruptions and collusions against senior managers. We will then have deliberations and thereafter closes. May I get a proposal and a seconder that we can start with this meeting? you can just speak. You don't have to raise your hands. You were so joyful now. Now no one wants to.
I second, Chair. Honorable Mutaung, second.
No, that's a proposal. Is there any second?
No, goeiemôre voorsitter. Let me stand to second the proposal of Honorable Mutau. Baie dankie.
Thank you so much. Colleagues, good morning. And I would like to stress that today's meeting is not a normal routine. We rise this morning because of Honorable Molachani, who requested to invite PACOFS to the Portfolio Committee. As a Portfolio Committee, we have to ensure that institutions entrusted with advancing sports, arts, and culture, and also they have to operate with integrity, fairness, and respect for their employees. Allegations of victimization, corruption, and collusion against senior executives are of grave concern to this committee. They strike at the credibility of the Performing Arts Council of the Free State and by extension the department itself. And that is a huge problem for us, and everyone will know that when governance is in jeopardize, you'll find that sponsors and sponsorships withdraw. So it is important that we have this meeting in terms of our role as members of Parliament. Our mandate is clear, honorable members. We are custodians of accountability. We do not sit here and prejudge individuals, but to uphold the principles of freedom, fairness, and opportunity. Every employee deserves dignity in the workplace. Every rand allocated to the arts must be spent transparently. Every executive must be held to the highest ethical standards. Most of the time we meet as members of Parliament, and we must remember after this meeting, there are hundreds and thousands of people who are watching this meeting that comes back to us with evidence and say that this was said in the meeting, but here is the truth. And I would like to invite members that they must still keep on following up these cases. The artists are not just performers on stage. Honorable Mtetwa, they are our heroes. Our communities, they are our audience, and the cultural heritage we are meant to protect. We must therefore approach this meeting with seriousness, but also fairness, honorable members, and we need proper updates of investigations, even in cases where people resign and run away. The committee oversight has highlighted numerous cases in the past where there was weaknesses in governance. The shenanigans in ASA was revealed by this committee in October last year, and to date, no report. It is shameful that misconduct was dismissed because of procedural flaws where Mr. Terence Mogodela was not supposed to sign the letter, and to date, SASCOC has done nothing in this case, no proper report. The same with other federations like SAFA, boxing, basketball, and hockey, where leadership controversies undermine public trust in the administration. Also, honorable members of this portfolio committee, sports, arts, and culture, some of the outcomes reinforce the need for stronger accountability, for stronger frameworks across federations. Allegations must be tested against evidence, processes must be transparent, and outcomes must restore confidence, not erode in something else. We are here today to interrogate facts presented to us as we have seen the presentation, and also to ensure that no voice is silent and no concern is brushed away. Let us demand clarity, honorable members, from the department and PACOFS on how these allegations are being addressed and what corrective measures are in place and what is going on within PACOFS. This committee stands as a safeguard against abuse of power, and we will do so today, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and in the future for the people of South Africa. I thank you, and I will now invite the department to give us an overview. Dr. Kumalo.
Apologies, Chair. We have not had the apologies yet, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Secretary. Is there any apologies from the department, ministry?
Chairperson, we have a standing apology from the DM this week, who has a medical procedure, so she's not in the meeting today, Chair. Thank you. And also there's an apology from PACOFS. I'm sure they will table the apology, Chair, as well for their chairperson. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Dr. Kumalo, any apologies?
Good morning, Chairperson, Minister, members. I do not have an apology to table for the department, Chair. I noted that the board is here. PACOFS, when you allow them, they might table apologies, Chair.
Thank you, PACOFS. Anyone absent? PACOFS. Who is going to speak on behalf of PACOFS? Who's leading PACOFS? Please unmute.
Good morning, Chairperson. My name is Reverend Tabiso Lancelot Mashilwane. I have an apology for our chairperson, Dr. Steenkamp, who is on sick leave. There is a sick note that has been submitted to the Secretary of the Portfolio Committee. We have an apology that came in this morning from Mr. Tammy Plaiki, who is reported that he has had a break-in at his house this morning, and he will not be able to join us.
Thank you so much.
Other than that, all the members that should be here are in the meeting, Chairperson. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend. I'm giving over to the department. My apologies. My apologies. Minister, 2 minutes. Unmute, Minister.
Sorry. Yeah, I just unmuted now. I'm here at home today. So, no, Chairperson, I'm also all ears. I want to hear. We've heard different versions when we ask different people. So today I'm just going to sit here and listen to which version are we going to hear of the truth today. I hope that, and I'll encourage members of PACOFS to be totally open and transparent with the committee. And then just lastly, Chairperson, I heard Honorable Gabo said, he spoke Afrikaans, but he said second. I just want to tell him it's secondeer. Secondeer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. The department.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Mr. Tsanyane, Head of Oversight, will take the committee through the prepared presentation. Mr. Tsanyane.
Thank you very much. Good morning to Chairperson. Good morning to the Minister, DG, and colleagues and honorable members on the platform. Chairperson, I'm just going to do the normal overview presentation that we take. If we can go to slide number 3, which is a slide on mandate. This is the mandate of PACOFS, which is a public entity declared in terms of the Cultural Institutions Act, Act 119 of 1998 as amended. It's a Schedule 3A under the Public Finance Management Act, and its mandate is to promote, preserve, and develop the performing arts in the Free State region and also in South Africa at large. If you can go to the next slide, where we talk about the performance in terms of the predetermined objectives, the key performance indicators for the 3 financial years from 2022-23. In 2022-23, there was a 50-50 in terms of performance there, where 50% was achieved and 50 was not. A slight increase in 23-24, where 53 was achieved and 47 not. In 24-25, increased to 77% achieved and 23% which was not achieved. The next slide deals with the financial allocations, the baseline that is given to entities, as well as other funding that goes to public entities. We look at the 25-26 financial year, where PACOFS received a baseline allocation of 51,876,000 and the infrastructure grant of 9,270,000. The other allocation of 647,000, which was given to PACOFS, was to deal with the cost of compliance for the public entity. The following year, the grant will increase to 54 million, and the outer year of 27-28, it will be 56,725,000. And Chair, you'll notice there that the infrastructure grant is not allocated for the outer years. In terms of the performance, in terms of audits, the institution has been receiving unqualified audit outcomes with findings for the 3 past financial years. And the reasons in the next slide that are highlighted by the Auditor General in terms of that was that the key findings are talking about that there were no effective and appropriate steps taken to prevent irregular expenditure as required by the PFMA section 51(1)(b) 2. And then the second one was that the financial statements submitted for auditing were not prepared in accordance with the prescribed financial reporting framework. And that is a requirement also in terms of section 55(1)(b) of the PFMA. There was also an SEM issue where goods and services of transactions, transaction value above 1 million were not procured were procured without inviting competitive bidders. The fourth one was that contracts were awarded to bidders who did not submit a declaration on whether they are employed by the state or connected to any person employed by the state. The last one was that contracts were awarded to suppliers whose tax matters had not been declared by the South African Revenue Services. So these are the findings that were picked up by the Auditor General in the recent, which is the last financial year's audit of 24-25. In terms of council composition, Chair, currently the entity had at the time of submission of the report, the entity had 7 members of council, and these are the names. And maybe I must say, on slide number 9, there is a member, Ms. Makosazana Kanyile. Last week, we received as a department a resignation from council. So right now, that was when we are still undertaking the process to add more members of the council. However, we have now 1 other member who has resigned, so that will mean that that member will be replaced. So that member is no longer in the council because it happened after the presentation was submitted. These are the next slide. Slide 10 talks to the oversight activities, where we look at the number of council members present in the council, and we look at the council meetings attended, and the number of committee meetings. We look at the attendance
My
rate.
apologies, Sibusiso.
Yes.
Can you go the slide back, one slide back, just for members' clarity? Can you just give us dates there of the resignations?
Of the resignation.
Yeah.
Chair, let me, I will check the correct date. Can I check that? But I will have the date because it was last week. I can't remember the exact day. Can I check that, Chair?
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and then when during questions, maybe I can report on that. In terms of the council members, you'd see that, Chair, in the, let me concentrate on 24-25, which is the recent, we had 9 council members, and then there were 8 council meetings and 21 committee meetings, with the attendance rate of council meetings sitting at 96%. And the audit committee meetings were 7, management meetings 3, and staff meetings reported as 4. The next slide deals with the governance engagements. These are the standard engagements that is done between the department and its public entities, and PACOFS falls under the Performing Arts Institutions Sector Forum, where there were 2 meetings in 2025 and 26 financial year, and the Chairperson's Forum, which was held. This is normally a meeting where shareholder compacts are signed between the chairpersons and the minister. The Chief Financial Officers Forum, which happened last year. The other one for the financial year was held, I think, yesterday or Wednesday, I can't remember, this week, which then makes it 2 for the financial year. The CEO's Forum also was held on the 3rd of September, and the last one for the financial year will be held during this month of March. In terms of the composition of management, we have Ms. Gabisile Smelane, who is substantively the Chief Financial Officer. However, since the end of the contract of the CEO, she has been acting as the Chief Executive Officer. She has a contract expiring in 2029. However, also we can report that prior to, before this presentation was submitted, prior to the recent developments, where we've received that she has also resigned from the institution, but she is here, Chair. I think Council will also report on that one. And in the Chief Financial Officer position, we have Ms. Nomza Topo, who is acting in that position. The position of the Artistic Director is currently vacant. The composition of staff is standing at 58, and those are the aggregation of demographics in terms of gender, race, and male and female, and also in terms of racial spread. In terms of the challenges, Chair, there is a challenge that has been reported in terms of the infrastructure challenges. This relates to the issue of billing, and this is centered around the issue that PACOFS, the building itself, belongs to the Public Works province, and there are other departments that are using it. So you'd find that there was an issue, or there is still an issue with the electricity there, as PACOFS then gets liable to pay for electricity, which also is utilized by other departments. And I think the PACOFS will also expand more on that one, but there are ongoing engagements in relation to this matter. It's a property management matter, which also involves the Department of Public Works as well. The second one was the issue of the allegations of financial mismanagement that happened in the institution. There has been reports of these misconducts, and the entity itself has also written to the department to request that the department assist to conduct the investigations on these allegations. And then the department, what it has done at the moment, we have done a submission where we will assist PACOFS and provide them with the list of the panel of attorneys which will assist in the investigations. So those are the issues that Chair we can report on in the overview at this moment. Thank you very much, Chair. I think may I just maybe add to your question in terms of the resignation of Ms. Kanyile, that was on the 5th of March.
5th of March.
2026, yes, 5th of March, yes.
Okay, the department must just note that the presentation, there's a shining absence of how the department has dealt with challenges in PACOFS, but I hope it will be explained later on. PACOFS, Reverend, who's going to do the presentation?
Chairperson, we have in our midst the acting CEO, Ms. Simelane. She will be leading the presentation, Chairperson.
Thank you so much. Please proceed.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson and members of the Portfolio Committee, the Department, Minister, good morning. DG and the rest of the colleagues from the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. Chair, I am not sure if I am the one sharing or the Secretariat will fight on my behalf.
No, we've given you the sharing rights, ma'am. You can flight the presentation.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Chairperson, if you can just confirm if you are able to see the flighted presentation.
Yes, it is. There is a request also for you to just switch on your video so that members can see you. It is a normal practice, but if you have challenges, there's no problem.
That is not a problem, Chairperson. I hope I am visible. Chairperson, as the Deputy Chairperson of Council indicated, my name is Gabisile Simelane, the acting CEO of PACOFS and outgoing CEO of PACOFS. Chair, I will then take the members and yourself through this particular presentation. I will then be assisted as well, Chairperson, by the acting CFO, Ms. Topo, when we get to later to the presentation. Chairperson, this is just the first slide. Let me just try and put it in presentation format. Chair, based on the brief that we received from the Portfolio Committee, we have then divided our table of content into numerous topics. We have
my apologies. My apologies. I see a hand of one of the members, Honorable Molatani.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good morning, Chair. Minister, Deputy Minister, everyone on the platform, honorable members. Chair, maybe it's only me, but I didn't see the face. I only saw the background, or is it me only? I'm not sure. Thank you very much.
Yeah, again, there's a request to put a name or a face to the name or name to the face. Members can't see.
Chair, let me maybe try and remove my background, but my webcam is on. And let me just see. Oh, is it fine now, Chair?
Go. There we go. Okay. Members, are you happy? Happy, Chappy. Thank you so much. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you very much, Chairperson. As I indicated, we have a table of content of the contents of the slides. We have the PACOFS mandate, PACOFS vision and mission, accounting authority, which is council, PACOFS on organogram on a high level in the presentation, based on the brief that we received from the portfolio committee. Majority of what we had received was in relation to the labor relations related issues. We have allegations of financial misconduct, and lastly, we have also sponsored a turnaround intervention that PACOFS envisages to do going forward. Chair, the PACOFS mandate, Mr. Zanyani had touched on it, that we are a Schedule 3A entity and we are established as per the Cultural Institution Act of 1998, Act number 119. Chair, I will not go through that because it has already been covered by the department. The vision and mission of PACOFS, Chairperson, our vision is to become an icon of the performing arts globally. And if you look at our mission, it's to contribute to the creative and cultural industry through the unearthing, preservation, educating, and presenting works of artistic excellency for the Free State. Chair, I will then go to the next slides, which just talks to the accounting authority. Mr. Zanyani has also touched on this one, that before the presentation was submitted, we had a resignation, which takes council members to 6 as opposed to 7, as indicated in the Cultural Institution Act. Chair, with that said, I will then go to management on a high level. Chairperson, this is how our structure looks like. We have the council, of which the accounting officer would report to the council as myself. And then we have about 6 managers reporting directly to the CFO's office. We've got Ms. Topu, who is in this meeting as the acting CFO. Vacant position in the artistic director, we've got a senior manager marketing and communications, senior manager facilities, and then we've got 2 other managers that are reporting directly to the CEO, which is manager ICT and manager HR. Person, I'm just highlighting or purpose of this presentation is to appraise the portfolio committee on the issues brought up on various platforms, spanning from labor relations matters and litigious matters against PACOFS. Appraise also the portfolio committee on the progress of the investigations into alleged financial misconduct, alleged corruption, and alleged collusion of employees with service providers. Chairperson, the first issue in relation to labor relations matters. On the first bullet, we are just indicating that, Chairperson, PACOFS unfortunately has a plethora of litigious matters, all stemming from labor cases. Mostly it's dismissal of employees. Those are the litigious matters that are against PACOFS, and they are all dating back from 2018 to 2024. So that is the period that we are looking at. In the current financial year, Chairperson, we did not have any dismissals, or we don't have any cases that are currently sitting at the Labour Court. Chair, bullet number 2 just highlights that these particular dismissal cases cross over several financial years and were presided over by different accounting authorities. The current accounting authority was appointed in December 2024, which means then all these cases, they predate before their appointment. The current accounting officer was appointed in October 2024 as the chief financial officer and appointed as the accounting officer effectively the 27th of January 2026 after the departure of the previous accounting officer. Chair, matters that are currently sitting in different jurisdictions, we have about 5 of them. Against PACOFS, we have 3 labor court cases that are sitting at the Labour Court. One, it's PACOFS versus Mr. Moketsani, who was the maintenance manager. The particular employee, Chairperson, was dismissed in 11 May 2022. Another Labour Court case, Chairperson, is PACOFS versus Mr. D. Sikome, who was an OHS manager. The employee was dismissed on various misconduct, and the employee was dismissed on 8 July 2024. This was the last dismissal, Chair. Chair, there's a matter that is currently at mediation stage of Mr. T. Mulibatsi versus PACOFS, who was a technician. The employee was dismissed on various misconducts on 13 December 2019. Chair, we currently have one case that is currently sitting at CCMA. The case was at Labour Court, and the court ruled in favor of PACOFS, and the ruling indicates.
Am I in the right meeting? It sounds like I'm hearing a horror movie here, looking at a horror movie. I'm saying this tongue in cheek, lighter note. Please proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chairperson, this employee was dismissed on 7 October 2022. The matter ran its course at the Labour Court, but the final judgment that the PACOFS received last year, November, was that the matter needs to be ventilated at CCMA. So it went from Labour Court to CCMA. Chair, I'm not sure, but there is a from my side. I'm not sure if you're still able to hear me, Chair.
Yes, I can. It's a little bit.
Chairperson, can I
I'm not
proceed?
sure whether it's myself. There's also another developments. I'm not sure what is it, another Zoom or is it web or whatever. But you are welcome to switch off your camera because you are not coming through very clear.
Okay, Chair, let me do that.
That's better.
Okay, Chairperson. Chair, the last Labour Court issue, it's PACOFS versus Mr. Rampaku, who was a sound technician. Mr. Rampaku was dismissed on 16 October 2018. Chairperson, the matter was lying low up until we received some communication from the Labour Court sometime last year, May, but the date for set down has not been yet. So this is one of the cases where PACOFS won at the CCMA, but then there was a review that was launched by that particular employee. Chairperson, if you permit, then I will move on to the cases that were elevated to the portfolio committee. Chairperson, we have about 3 labor cases that were elevated to the portfolio committee. These are the 3 matters that one is PACOFS versus Mr. P. Mweketsani, who was dismissed in May 2022, with the case is currently ongoing. And then we have a Dlamini, the former CEO, versus Mr. Mweketsani. It was a CEO contempt of court. Then we have PACOFS versus Ms. Mutiti, dismissed in October 2022 and was reinstated last year, July, by CEO Mr. T. Dlamini. Chairperson, I will then go into detail of each case, highlighting how we got to where we are currently. Chairperson, we have the matter of a former employee who was the maintenance manager, who was charged and dismissed for misconduct and gross insubordination. I'll just, on a high level, Chairperson, go through the charges that were in Mr. Mweketsani's charge sheet. One, it's gross misconduct, alternatively gross negligence. We have gross insubordination. Then number 3, we have dishonesty, alternatively gross negligence. We've got gross insubordination, alternative non-compliance with prescribed procedures, rules, regulations, conditions of employment or instruction. We have non-compliance with the clock-in procedure, alternatively gross insubordination. We have creating a toxic work environment and undermining management's authority, alternatively pre-judicial conduct. Chairperson, after his dismissal, Mr. Mweketsani took the matter to CCMA for review. The CCMA arbitration ran for an unprecedented number of days, which was 29 days during COVID. The CCMA awarded in his favor, and an award was issued on 5 June 2024. And the commissioner found that the dismissal was procedurally and substantially unfair and ordered that he be reinstated. Mr. Mweketsani was to return to work on the 3rd of July 2024, and the payment of the salary back pay was supposed to be made by 30 June 2024. Upon receipt of the award, PACOFS instituted a review application around 22 July, and the case between Mr. Mweketsani and PACOFS has not been heard at the Labour Court. Case number 2, Chairperson, is still Mr. Mweketsani, but then this one is a different one. It's Mr. Mweketsani versus this then CEO, Mr. T. Dlamini. The Labour Court has ruled that the entity is in contempt of court for failure to appear at the Labour Court. For Mr. P. Mweketsani, the court has delivered a letter of summons for a court date, which was received and signed by one of the representatives of the entity, but the entity nor any of its representative failed to appear at a set date in court. The Labour Court ruled in favor of the applicant, Mr. P. Maketsane, due to non-existence of the security bond and the record filed outside the 60-day period as prescribed. The CEO of PACOFS was found guilty of a civil offense of contempt of court in terms of Section 143 of the Labour Relations Act and was liable to pay a fine of 4 million. The fine imposed to the CEO was suspended if the CEO applied to the order to reinstate Mr. P. Maketsane and pay the back pay within 10 days of the order issue date, and P. Maketsane be reinstated by the entity and commence work on 11 December. Subsequently, the entity lodged an appeal regarding this ruling by the Labour Court, of which the date of the court date has been set for the 24th of March 2026. The entity has submitted an agent application to a panel of judges to overturn the judgment, arguing the case that was won by Mr. P. Maketsane purely on contempt of court without the Labour appeal hearing on the merits of the original case. Mr. P. Maketsane has therefore not been reinstated as of today. Chairperson, this is the colleague that I indicated that was dismissed in case number 3 is in relation to a colleague that was dismissed in 2022 on various allegations of misconduct following a disciplinary hearing. Having referred the alleged unfair dismissal dispute to the CCMA, an award was issued in her favor in August 2023, in terms of which PACOFS was ordered to reinstate and compensate and pay her compensation in terms of compensation of employees by September 2023. PACOFS on 16 October 2023 lodged an application to review and set aside the award and paid the security bond. The entity was ordered on 15 October 2024 for Ms. Mutete to be reinstated to her job as of 1 November 2024. For the Sheriff of Bloemfontein West to release an amount and deposited with him to the employee. The entity to make a compensation due to Ms. Mutete. The entity reviewed the award, reviewed the court order, and on 12 June 2025, the entity was found incompetent for failing to reinstate Ms. Mutete to her job and pay her the compensation ordered and ordered to reinstate Ms. Mutete to her job and position by no later than 1 July 2025. Chairperson, what has happened to date, Ms. Mutete was reinstated on the 1st of July 2025, so she's been in the system, being reintegrated into the system in her old position. The entity has complied with the court order payments made in installment as per the settlement or the final court order. 94% of the court order required payments have been made to Ms. Mutete to date. So the entity only has about 6% to honor and finalize that particular court order. Chairperson, we have then a plethora of allegations that are sitting in Annexure A, received from various emails, including an email communication named concerned employees at gmail.com. Chairperson, what we have prudently done as management, we then would, because the AGSA would also be copied in this concerned employee allegation of misconduct. And if you look at what Treasury Regulation 33 of Treasury Regulation 33.1 does indicate what needs to be done upon receipt of financial misconduct allegations. So what we have then done, AG has looked at some of these allegations as listed in the next few slides, Chairperson. However, because they perform a regulatory audit, some of these need a forensic audit for them to go through things like your bank statement, being able to trace and go deeper and parentic-wise to see whether these things they did okay or not, whether to refute the allegations or to validate the particular allegations. Upon AG finalizing what they had done, there's conclusions that they had made where they were able to go into documents and review documents and they would come to a conclusion. But there's instances where they do indicate that management then needs to then engage a service provider or internal auditors to look further into the allegations. What management has done then is to prudently engage the current outsourced internal audit firm to look at the allegations. How internal audit looked at the allegations, they had phase one. Phase one, it entails a pre-screening chairperson of these allegations, and then they would come to a conclusion to say what then needs to be done in terms of phase two. Chairperson, internal audit finalized this process last year, November, December, and they came up with a quote of approximately 1.9 million for them to further complete phase two. Phase two would then be going into deeper investigation using the methodology that they would then have prescribed to follow as per phase two. Chairperson, upon receipt of the quotation and the finalization of phase one, which was pre-screening, and the affordability thereof, management sat down and when we had one of the meetings with the department around February this year, we did indicate the challenges in terms of the fact that the entity does not have in their OPEX the 1.9 million to pay internal auditors to come and do the allegations. However, we then extended a request to the department, as the department has indicated, to assist on the plethora of allegations that we have in our midst. The department gave us a response yesterday, and as Mr. Tsanyani has indicated, they then responded to give us a list of firms that we can tap into, and they also said that the entity can use the OPEX budget to navigate around. Chairperson, because the response was received yesterday, we are yet then to sit with council and an audit and risk committee just to see how then we navigate into the next phase of these allegations. Chairperson, with your permission, I will then ask the acting CFO to take us through Annexure A, which then contains these allegations. It's a total number of 32 allegations. Chairperson, with your permission, I will ask the acting CFO then to come through. Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, am I on?
Yes, you have 10 minutes. Please proceed. Unmute.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much, colleagues. Good morning, everybody. I'm the Minister, DSEG representatives, PACOFS Council, former CEO and the acting CEO of PACOFS. My name is Namza Topo. I'm currently the acting CFO at PACOFS. As CEO has alluded, I'll just be taking through the committee through Annexure A of the allegations that we received through an email of concerned employees of PACOFS. Chair, I'm not sure if everyone can see the presentation that I'm sharing.
No, it's not on yet. It's on.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. So the first allegation that's on my presentation will be an allegation that we received where the whistleblower indicated that the then acting CFO received a bribe amounting to 1.5 thousand from a service provider that was appointed by PACOFS to provide wellness program. So our auditors.
I think just for the record purpose, it's 1,500. So those who are viewing here would not understand what's 1.5 thousand. I think it's 1,500.
Correct. So the external auditors AG did look at this specific allegation together with the internal audit investigation unit. Also management, based on the support, they'd also do an internal assessment. So when you look at the report from the internal auditors and the AGSA, so the AGSA did indicate that because they are limited in terms of their scope, they would recommend that this be looked at further through further investigation. The internal audit also indicated that they will need to look at bank statements, meeting with the former CEO, the acting one. We also looked at the information on hand. So the former acting CFO was required to provide a response in the form of an affidavit. So he did indicate in the affidavit the merits of the receipt of the 1.5 thousand rand, where he did indicate that he does provide tax services. He is a tax practitioner, of which we did confirm through disclosure that he did in fact disclose that as part of additional businesses that he runs outside the entity as a tax practitioner. So he did provide tax services to this specific service provider, of which he did receive the 1.5 thousand rand. So internally, we would have expected him to have disclosed the receipt because at the time, the service provider was providing services for the entity. So this matter, we are dealing with it internally rather than putting it through for further investigation, because he did not deny the receipt thereof. And then the second allegation, still pertaining to the service provider for the wellness program, where the whistleblower indicated that the HR manager at the time, who was the one managing that program, the wellness program, demanded a bribe to the amount of 20,000 rand from the company. Internal audit and external audit also looked at it. We have also looked at the supporting documentation on hand, and then we also recommend, based on the support that came through with the allegation, for the DSEC to assist in further investigating this matter. So the third allegation indicated also that the service provider, through the SCM department, there was an indication where the SCM manager at the time requested a bribe for that specific contract to be extended. And then the whistleblower is also indicating that without the extension, now the contract will be terminated prematurely. So we did look at the contract itself. We noticed that the contract came to an end in June 2024, and then the last invoice was paid in May 2024. There was no indication that this specific contract was terminated prematurely. It ended at the contract end date. So we agree with the internal auditors that there is no need to further investigate this matter. And then the other allegation was where the whistleblower indicated that the HR manager at the time was representing employees at the CCMA without disclosure. They did support the allegation in the form of communication of the then HR manager with CCMA. So we are also requesting our department to also look at this specific matter. The following allegation was regarding a tender. So PACOFS had two tenders. The first tender was to renovate the artist flats. And then the second tender was for security services. According to the whistleblower, the acting CFO and the SCM manager at the time allegedly would award the security tender to the same service provider that was awarded the renovation of the flats. We did look at the information, the tender documentation on hand. So when you look at when the service provider was appointed to renovate the flats at the time, the project had to be placed on hold due to limited funds available. And then I think it was in April 2025, the following year, we awarded a security tender. So when you look at the tender documents, there is no link between the two service providers, because the service provider that was awarded the renovation of flats did not even tender for the security tender. It was subsequently awarded to a company called Departmental. So because we can't identify a link, we would recommend that there is no need for further investigation into this matter based on the documentation that we assessed. The second allegation was relating to the former CEO, where the whistleblower indicated that he adjusted his own salary. So there is documentation where CEO salary adjustment was presented to council. There was a benchmarking exercise that was concluded at the time by the HR department, and then the council of PACOFS subsequently approved that adjustment at the time. So there is evidence that CEO did not adjust his salary. So there is a recommendation that no additional procedures performed in this regard. The other allegation was a situation where the whistleblower is indicating that
I think I'm going to stop you there. There's too much allegations. I think members have also read these presentations. Is there anything else except telling us about investigations that PACOFS wants to tell us?
From our side would be, it's only this annexure where it's all the investigation. It is a lot. It was a total of 32 investigations.
Let me stop you there. I'm going to ask you to take off the presentation. And there is quite a number of former and those who have resigned in this meeting. I would like to kindly request that you put on your video so that members can see you. I'm also going to ask you to introduce yourself. But I want to say the following on behalf of the committee. Can all other members just switch on their cameras, please, so that members of parliament see you? And I'm going to ask you to please introduce yourself. Those who are still in the motor car, in bed, please get dressed quick and come show your face in this meeting. I can tell you now, as an entity entrusted honorable members with 54 million rand, I must bow my head in shame, despite the resources allocated. And you know, Dr. Kumalo, this thing is coming on since 2018. And it seems more like what we are witnessing here today is like a horror movie. It is really disappointed what we are hearing here, amid the fact that DSEC is also entrusted to do oversight over these entities. We are burdened with PACOFS, with unresolved labor issues, court issues, CCMA cases. There is vacant positions, resignations of key members. These failures demand urgent intervention. And I can tell you now, if I'm going to give members opportunities to speak, they will ask that this board must be dissolved. You see, members already raised their hands because they are in a hurry. I think their political clause is out for this entity. In 2025-26, PACOFS receives 51 million. 2026-27, 54 million. 2027-28, 56 million. And Minister, it is DSEC who's still pumping in money into this PACOFS. Let me ask you to introduce yourself. I am so disappointed. I don't know. It's unbelievable what we hear here. It is unbelievable. What people still sitting and we're sending PACOFS to go out there and to service the country. They go out there to use monies for court cases. What a disgrace. Can members of PACOFS introduce themselves, former members, those who are invited that are here, and in a snapshot, just tell us your responsibility. Then I'm going to give members in the following order: the Honorable Molatani, Honorable Potgieter, Honorable Daniels opportunity. Reverend, you may start.
Chairperson, I am the Deputy Chairperson of the PACOFS Council, appointed in December 2024. Thank you, Chair, and I agree with you that these are serious matters and the current council views them as such. Thank you ever so much, Chairperson.
Thank you. Yeah, I think those who collecting COPs are already standing at the ICU doors to collect PACOFS. That's what's happening. The next, Nomza, please again.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Nomza Topo. I've been acting as CFO from 31st of January 2026.
Thank you so much. I apologize for calling you on your names. Quentin.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Quentin Norris. I've been an ordinary council member since December 2024. Thanks.
Thank you. Is it Mr. Sipa? Please unmute. Sipatis. Please unmute and introduce yourself. Tishabe. Okay, let me proceed. Honorable Molatani, please proceed.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, Minister, honorable members, the DSEC staff, as well as the staff of PACOFS. Let me just show my face, Chairperson, before I switch off my video due to the problem of the network. First, Chairperson, before I can go any further, let me do this disclaimer, Chair. I know Reverend Mashilwane, as we are from the same location of Zamdela, and I'm the usual visitor to Reverend Mashilwane's church. I just want to make that a disclaimer, Chairperson. Chairperson, let me appreciate the report. You've said so much about that report, which is bad. And the reason I was so loud about the portfolio to call PACOFS, it's after I received certain information and I felt like this information needs to come and be presented in the portfolio committee. I did an unexpected oversight at PACOFS. one day, and I think I've reported back to the portfolio committee. Arriving at that expected oversight, chairperson, I wanted to raise some questions at there immediately after I got the issue of M contract. Let me first start by saying that I think PACOFS, first of all, they need to teach their staff, the front desk. The front desk is the face of the organization. If you start to have a receptionist who's arrogant to the client, it's going to be the problem. So PACOFS must go and teach their staff the courtesy of how to handle the client. It doesn't matter who's coming in, whether that person has he's known or he's unknown, but they need to treat their clients with us. Chairperson, let me go to my questions, not wasting your time. I think I need to ask this: how many legal cases does the entity have, and why are those legal cases being taken outside, not being resolved inside the entity? And those cases, if you check other cases, Chairperson, there are cases that can be resolved inside. And I just want to check the legal person they use. Is it the same legal person, or is it different legal people that they use on those cases, Chairperson? I will wait for my answer, Chair. Thank you.
I respond.
Good morning once again, Chairperson, and thank you, Honorable Muletsane, for the question. Chair, I'll just go straight to the question. Currently, as I indicated on the slide, we have about 5 legal cases in different jurisdictions, 3 sitting at the labor court awaiting dates. Then one has been referred back to the CCMA, and then we have 1 mediation. The legal cases, Chair, I think procedurally, if you follow the process, there would be a internal disciplinary hearing that takes place. Failure to that, then normally PACOFS would use an external appointed chairperson who's then independent to chair that particular disciplinary hearing. Post that, then there would be sanctions or the ruling of what has taken place during this disciplinary hearing. These cases, Chairperson, have resulted in dismissals. Obviously, then the employees or the colleagues would then challenge the dismissal at CCMA. Whether CCMA then rules in favor of PACOFS or against PACOFS, then the employees or PACOFS would then go to the labor court to review that particular application. So that is the process. In terms of the legal representatives that we currently have, obviously over the years, as I indicated, Chairperson, some of these cases date back from 2018. We have used different service providers or different attorney firms to represent PACOFS. Some of them then their contracts would come to an end and then would go out prudently so, Chairperson, through the SCM process and appoint. We are currently having 2 legal representatives, a panel of attorneys that are currently handling the cases that we are currently active and running. Chair, I didn't spend much time at PACOFS. I'm only a year old at PACOFS. And some of the cases, yes, we could have management then, or they could have resolved them in a different way. But unfortunately, because of the stage of where they are at labor case. One of the slides that maybe Mr. could not get to because we ran into the allegation is the turnaround that we are currently applying, which is to reduce, with this current council, we have a mandate to reduce litigious matters for PACOFS. So where we can settle outside of court, where we need to reinstate, that's what we are doing. So we have 1 mediation that is currently pending to be had, where we want to enter into a particular settlement agreement. So, Chairperson, that is the strategy that is being, and the mandate that is followed by the current council to say reduce the litigious matters to 0 and ensure that obviously disciplinary needs still to be intact, but then ensure that we don't have a repeat, because some of these things are reoccurring and we can see them happening, as some of them dating back as far as 2013. Thank you, Chair. I hope I have adequately responded to Honorable Moletsane. If not so, my colleagues can augment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the Honorable
Thank you very
Moletsane.
much,
Please proceed.
Chairperson. Let me correct something first. Moletsane, not Moletsane. Moletsane. Chairperson.
Noted, Honorable.
Thank you very much, ma'am. After I did my oversight, unexpected oversight at PACOFS, immediately when I left, they end up the entity ended up hiring the private investigator to come and investigate, who has issued me with an information. Why did I come? I just want to check with the entity. You know, nowadays the whistleblowers are dying and so forth. By doing that, did the board sanction or sanction the entity to do that investigations? And why were investigations done when member of parliament came to do an oversight on the entity where there is problems? Chair, if I put my question correctly.
A response, Mr. Similan, Mr. Silan.
Chair, unfortunately, I have no knowledge of what is being brought forward. However, we do have the former CEO, Mr. Lamini. Maybe he has some light, but during my tenure, we have never hired an investigator or a private investigator.
Yeah,
Thank
but
you,
can you tell us, is this allegations true?
Chairperson, before they can go further, yes, I'm aware of that. The same way that information arrived on my table is the very same way I got that information. And after I left, the employees were threatened, Chairperson. The employees were threatened, and that tell us that going to that entity, it means other people are going to lose their employment. Can the entity be open? You know, when the minister do the opening remarks, he said that it's time that PACOFS must come to table. They must say anything the way it is. If it's green, they must say it as green as it is, so that we can be able to have a clear way forward. Thank you, Chairperson. I'll wait for the answer.
Ms. Similani.
Chair, I will indicate again, I'm not sure when the honorable member came to PACOFS, and perhaps maybe, as I indicated, the former CEO is here. Perhaps he can sponsor some response, but I don't know of any private investigation. Any procurement of PACOFS, Chair, would go through the SCM unit, and I don't recall us procuring a private investigator. Maybe I think this platform needs to be open, and the honorable member can indicate any information that she has and possibly sponsor when she came to PACOFS. As I said, I'm only a year old in the entity. Thank you, Chair.
Minister, it's quite clear that PACOFS are playing games here. The millions allocated to PACOFS amid the consideration of cutting federations and others funds, was there any consideration from your office, Minister, to cut funds here? And was you aware of all of these things? Has this been reported to you by the DG? Minister, unmute. Dr. Kumalo.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chairperson, without interfering with your process, I'm going to respond to your question. However, the Portfolio Committee had summoned the former CEO, and he is in the meeting. I think he is also in a position to provide the specific. However, your question around whether these matters have been brought to the attention of the minister or not, the answer to that is yes, Chairperson. They have been brought to the attention at the time when
Dr. Kumalo?
At the time when the minister had recently joined the department, he physically went to PACOFS together with myself and other officials and had a session with both the CEO, the management, and the officials at PACOFS. But also, not very long ago, I'm looking for the date for you, Chair, so that I can give you a date. Also, not long ago, a letter was received from the chairperson of PACOFS, and this letter is dated the 11th. I'm trying to see the date here. It's not coming out very clearly what the date or is the response that came from the minister. But what I'm saying, Chair, is that there is a letter that was also sent by the chairperson of PACOFS on the 18th of February. So that was a second instance, Chairperson. But as I'm saying, there was an engagement directly led by the minister at PACOFS where he met together with myself, with the management and the staff at PACOFS.
Tell us, Dr. Kumalo, of the consideration to withdraw funds or cut funds with all the shenanigans going on in PACOFS.
No, there has not been, no, Chair, there has not been consideration to withdraw funds.
Honorable Molatani, please proceed.
Chairperson, thank you very much. We are going to raise questions and we are not going to get answers, Chairperson. Let me check with PACOFS. PACOFS, they used to have an asset that is called mobile stage truck that they used to take theatre to rural areas. Can the PACOFS explain to us where is that truck together with the props and sets that were used in that truck?
Is it the former CFO or CEO that is in the meeting? Just clarify for me.
Chair, is the former.
The former?
The former CEO, Chairperson.
Thank you so
Mr.
much.
Dlamini.
The former, Mr. Dlamini, you're welcome in this meeting, and I just want to assure you that your safety is guaranteed. We invited you, and we have done this within our powers. We can invite and summons anyone, whether he or she is in America. It is part of our role, and I want you to be frank with us. I want you to shoot from the hip. Tell us what has happened. Don't be shy.
Honorable Chairperson and members of the committee, I'll deal with the first question that Honorable Molotani raised in terms of a private investigation. There's no such. That's number one. And there's no basis of conducting an investigation. And if the answer is conduct an investigation, then you have to follow due process. So PACOFS, since I've been at PACOFS since 2022, 1st of November, one has not dealt with it. That's one. And if we have received whistleblowing issues, I think the acting CEO has already explained the process that is being applied in terms of dealing with those matters. With respect to the mobile units, as I deliberately indicated when I joined PACOFS, when one arrived, those mobile units were already sold. It's one of those assets that were just sold, and there was a process that was followed. So if one wants to go into the details, one will have to go back into how the disposal of assets actually took place prior to when I joined PACOFS. So that's my answer, Chairperson.
Thank you so much, Honorable Molatani.
Chairperson, you know what? I have so many questions, and I think that at the end of the day, we are going to leave here without getting a clear answers, Chair. Because according to me,
Yeah,
Chairperson,
I think, Honorable Molatsani, I hear you. So that I also want other members' voices to be heard. But you see, the minister has also made a clarion call. We must just be open here, because at the end of the day, it's a collective approach. It is PACOFS, it is a portfolio committee, and it's DSEC. And we must solve the problems that we have. And that's why I requested those who were invited here to tell us what has transpired, so that we can solve these problems. I'm going to give you another 2 minutes, Honorable Molatsani, then we can go to all the other members, and then we can have a second bite as well, because at the end of the day, everything that's going to be asked here, what has happened here, what has happened here, what has happened there, and all of that. So I mean, it's I don't know what to say.
Chairperson, let me go straight to the issue of triple M. Ne? The issue of triple M. Yes, I can hear that the response, the presentation of the entity. But the cut of the matter is, the last time I went there because I had information that the lady, Mary, I can't remember the same name, was complaining that before she can be paid, the officials will come and make demands. He bought tires for other officials. He gave other officials money, Chairperson. And people, anyone can go and get the affidavit. I so wish that Mary could be part of this meeting, so that she can be able to come and say her side of the story, because every coin has a two sides of the story. The only thing that I want to ask now on that matter of triple M, because even that matter of triple M, it was the same matter that brought me to go to PACOFS, and I left PACOFS without getting any answer, the same way that we are frustrated now. That was the same frustration that I got on the day when I was at PACOFS. I just want to check with that matter of triple M. How did the matter of triple M being resolved? How did triple M left the entity? Because the other thing, I know they are going to dispute it. I'm aware that the entity said that they've reported that service provider to a certain body. And who are they to report that person to that body when they were supposed to resolve that matter? How did they resolve this matter? The officials who took the money from Memory, what they do with that officials, and what does their policy set to people who are receiving a bribe from the service provider? What does their policy set to such people, and how did they resolve the matter? The issue of the investigation, Chairperson, to the very same matter, who was doing the investigations? Was it the investigations were done internally or externally? Because if it was done internally, obviously, Chairperson, and one is going to win the case, because there is no way we cannot work in an entity and we end up being friends, Chairperson. There is no way. So someone somewhere is hiding the information. You know, one thing that I know is that one day I'm busy checking on my laptop. I'm going to bring this information, Chairperson, the response of Memory, and all the allegations that Memory was laying against the officials. She bought the tires, she gave them money. Others were having the tire mechanical problem. She had to pay for them. And it was something that was done every month when they were supposed to pay Memory. She's supposed to pay them first, then all the papers can be processed. And I know the entity is going to say, no, we haven't done that. And they did do that, Chairperson. Thank you very much. I think I will come back after other members.
Thank you. Is there anyone of PACOFS or the department that would like to respond on who has done the investigation? as well as former members of PACOFS. The Honorable Potgieter.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think I have to emulate your sentiments. I don't quite know what I'm looking at. And to be honest, we received a plethora of documents that don't match the annexes in the presentation. Some of them are duplicated. Some of them are put under certain persons' names who are not even mentioned in the presentation. I'm not quite sure how they align. And to give you perspective, it's 54 documents in 10 folders that was received at 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. And last time I checked, I was not hired as a detective in the SAPS police service. I do not think that that's a proper way to present evidence to this committee. And I would ask that they actually collate that information and resend it and link it up to the allegations that are given in the presentation. That's my first point, Chair. I do think that...
Before you go any further, PACOFS, are you in a position to do that?
Chair, if maybe the honourable member can indicate what 54 documents she's referring to. I have no information in relation to that.
Chair, I cannot say where these annexes came from. They were submitted with the presentation. I would assume PACOFS would know. It's copies of Labour Court judgments that don't match the Labour Court judgments that are mentioned on here. It's annexures labelled A through C when you're talking about annexures labelled 2 and various other things. I would have assumed that they sent them to us. I didn't materialize them.
Sorry, Chair. Excuse me, Ms. Potgieter. The annexes that you received yesterday, the folder that you received yesterday, was the information that we had received from complainants that was sent to DSEC and PACOFS.
In the past.
And they were actually in the presentations responding to those allegations. But that's the PACOFS folder was from us, the information that we had received previously from complainants.
Thank you for that clarity, PC Secretary.
So, Chair, yeah, the annexes that they refer to in their presentation then are not supplied with the presentation, which would explain why they don't match. So they're referring to annexes that we need to look at that are not available. And I'll reference particularly allegation 8. They reference annexure 2, which would essentially explain the back pay of employees, which is very unclear. It seems that, you know, they kind of just said, well, you know, somebody said that it was back pay, so therefore it's okay. But just to go back to the beginning, because I'm going to try and make sense of this, hopefully. There seems to be serious allegations of bad governance, financial, you know, corruption, maladministration, a whole range of things that are going on. I'm very concerned to see that in all of these allegations, it almost seems that despite the fact that they originated from what it appears 2018 to 2024, that only now management is giving a recommendation for management to investigate. And they've then gone and sought the assistance of the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. If I can just get clarity from the DG, she said that the minister met with PACOFS not so long ago. If we can get confirmed dates of when they met and these allegations were brought to the attention of the department. And on the second side of that, I would like to understand from the council why they are unable to govern themselves and they need the assistance of the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, if possible.
Can we respond to those questions, Ms. Simelane?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, Honorable Potgieter has posed 2 questions to the department and council. I think I would allow council to come through, Chair.
Yeah, is council still in this meeting? Because there's no one that sees way through to assist us with the necessary information.
Chair, if they're unable to answer, then that's fine. I don't want to waste time on it trying to find somebody to respond.
Honorable Potgieter, council, please respond. We have people watching this and we want the country to see how you serve us with 54 million. With monies, that there's a huge implication on the finance. Council?
Chairperson, it is Reverend Mashilwane here.
Please proceed, Reverend.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Chairperson. As I mentioned earlier, that these allegations are very serious. We acknowledge the challenges that PACOFS is having. And Chairperson, you've made mention to the
We are losing you. Reverend Tabiso.
In the presentation, it has been mentioned by Ms. Melanie. It is very clear that all of these predate, they come back from 2018. We came in 2024. And
Mr. Dlamini, can you
PACOFS
respond to
around Chairperson. And if we will be given that opportunity to continue to do that, we will definitely do that.
Yeah, but
The one thing that is
Reverend,
needed to be done here is that these investigations need to be done and a report be given back to the portfolio committee and DSEC on the outcome of the investigations. We've
yeah,
only
you see, Reverend, just a second. You see,
yes, Chairperson.
We cannot pass the buck. You took over lock, stock, and barrel. So there should have been an handover. If it's not the previous council, it must be DSEC. So members, I want you to just vent, ask questions, say what you want to say, and we are not going to leave this here. We are going to give them written questions, and they must respond, and we will engage again. Because I'm not too sure whether we are dealing with the council or mute. Mr. Dlamini?
Good afternoon, good morning again, Chairperson and the members. So I will just turn off my camera and then go straight to the issues that the honorable member has asked in terms of the details. So my response will then be, because there were a number of cases that were presented, and those cases that have been presented, there should be an outcome of the ones that are falling within the ambit of management. And I think that has already been indicated in terms of the steps taken. And also touching on the issue of Triple M and also the maladministration or potential, bribery and so forth. One will obviously have to, go back into the report that, is actually dealing with Triple M from the time when it was appointed, 1, 2, and also its mandate. 3, what was the outcome of the work in terms of wellness? And then the last point I also wanted to share with the members is that I also had interaction with the Triple M managing director. And at the time, my last conversation with her was to say, she was saying to me via a WhatsApp to say that I'm taking the matter to the Hawks. And I said, well, it's, you've got your constitutional rights to exercise, so take it to the Hawks. But if there's anything that you will need from our side at that time, feel more than happy to contact us. And then the other thing, the last point, Chairperson, on all the individuals that have been who are involved with some form of bribery and so forth. The normal way was to take that particular whistleblowing matter, and then I would have, at the time, have a conversation with all the affected parties. And I say, here's an allegation about you have received this amount of money. Now, I'm giving you an opportunity. You need to go to the nearest police station and make an affidavit. And the affidavit will then be tested to say whether you're, saying the truth or not the truth. So that was the process that one has followed. And that collection or taking that approach was also to provide the Auditor General to say that from a management point of view, this is the steps that one has actually embarked on. So it's not just on those three, those particular people that they receive money from Triple M, or it's assumed that they receive money from Triple M, including even the issues relating to the the former artistic director. I also say, here's an allegation, these are whistleblowing matters, go and make an affidavit to say yea or nay. So, Honorable Chairperson, that's the approach I've always taken whenever I looked into matters like that. And it's a question of now the institution providing all those details at the appropriate time. Thank you.
Chair,
Thank you so
yeah.
much. Proceed.
I'm not sure if that was an answer to my question or the previous honourable member's question. My question is very clear. It appears that we've been given a presentation where, because PACOFS have been summoned to the committee, they have then put in the columns on the right-hand side that management will investigate, that DSAC has been brought into the picture. So there's no progress. It almost seems like last week they put in these comments to say, well, we need to investigate this, or we've decided it doesn't need investigation, without any clarity. So my question is twofold. Why are they unable to govern themselves that they need DSAC to come in and intervene? And why have they only now decided that matters that span since 2018 only now need to be investigated? There should be, at this stage of the game, a progress report, not a we're going to do this next week, we've now decided. I'll leave it there. I'm not going to, because I'm getting responses that are not relevant to that. I just want to go into the presentation itself. There is a very concerning, the case number 2 that they mentioned in the presentation. Essentially, a CCMA award was given against PACOFS in favor of Mr. Mukatsani. And then it went to the Labour Court, where the entity award failed to actually appear, and then risked a fine of about 4 million rand. Now, they seem to be playing around in this case where they are appealing it, and this guy was now reinstated, and then he wasn't reinstated. And I'm trying to understand how you are managing your HR matters, that it almost seems like you're failing to actually attend to them, then getting into a lot of trouble, and then trying to appeal those judgments. But I mean, it's not rocket science to appear at a hearing. How are these things happening, and who is managing labor-related matters in PACOFS?
I respond by PACOFS.
Yeah, even on this one, because the case Honorable Potgieter is referring to, it's PACOFS, actually CEO Dlamini versus PAC versus Mweketsani. So that's the contempt of court. If prudently so, Mr. Dlamini can come through.
Honorable Potgieter. Proceed, Honorable Potgieter.
Okay, Chair. I suppose we're not going to get a response on that end. Okay. Yeah. I'd just like to, I'm just going to read these questions, Chair, not waste any more time. I'm not going to do an interpellation on this. Perhaps if they answer them, and if not, then we'll move on. There is, yeah, I think with regards to allegation 9 that's mentioned, I just want to go to it, and I think allegation 8 as well. They keep referring to journals of medical aid payments that were incorrectly allocated to one scheme and then to another. They recommend that this be investigated, but I'm trying to understand how it happened in the first place, and who is actually handling the payments that are coming out of PACOFS, that these kind of errors are happening. They're not minor errors. And it also goes to the question around, why are you paying backdated salaries once people are leaving the entity and then claiming it's against a contract, instead of that being implemented in your normal, increase or pay scales as it happens year on year? That's a very strange practice, and it doesn't seem to me that you should just kind of brush it away and say, well, yes, it should have been done, because that's going to give you cash flow problems at the end of the year. There are a number of investigations that seem to be recommended for internal investigation, which I think is a huge conflict of interest. I'd like to understand why things, for example, the investigation into Mr. Moroka and the Matang attorneys issue, why that was never escalated to SAPS or even the SIU. That seems to be an internal investigation as well. The payment allegations that are refuted by PACOFS, apparently that's not being investigated simply because PACOFS refutes the allegations. That seems to be a strange way of doing business. If you can explain the salary CEO increase, which was 700,000 Rand, which was then stated as, yes, the council approved it, so it was justified. What percentage increase was that on the CEO's salary, and what was the basis and validation for that increase? It's a very high amount. So if you can provide the validation for why there was such a high increase in the CEO's salary, then why the investigation into the tender agreement for security with Sen, I think it's Senf Pty Limited. Why was that cancelled? There's no explanation given on that. Also, there's a blacklisted company in allegation 15, which it states that it was red flagged or blacklisted. But you state that there was no money owing, but you don't explain whether or not they were actually red flagged or blacklisted. Just because the money may have been paid back in the past couple of weeks or whatever the case may be, does not mean that they weren't red flagged or blacklisted. So if you can explain that. In allegation 17, you say the invoices may not be available. So you don't actually know. It seems strange that you would decide not to investigate something because the evidence may or may not be available. Just in closing, Chair, yeah, for me, I find it very strange that a lot of these particularly long-standing issues about undeclared relationships, a lack of vetting prior to procurement processes being done, ticket revenue not being deposited into accounts, why the management itself is investigating its own allegations, and why it requires the department to assist with this if it's doing its own investigations. I'd like to query why they wouldn't go external, why they wouldn't approach the SIU, why they haven't lodged cases with SAPS or the Hawks, or why there don't seem to be any sort of charges brought against employees that are responsible for the breakdown in governance and procurement processes within this entity. This particular report and this particular entity is exceptionally concerning. And I do not buy the argument that somebody came in a year ago and therefore it was the previous person. If you take on a responsibility, like any of us do, you go and do your research, you investigate allegations, you investigate financial issues within the entity, and you make sure that you are on the front foot with these issues. You cannot then claim that we're just going to spend money as if we're starting from day zero, because these things will come back to haunt you.
Thank you,
Thank
Honorable
you,
Chair. Mr. Dlamini, can you respond to some of these questions? I'm going to make the following ruling that after this meeting, that the portfolio secretary go back to all the recordings and minute down verbatim the questions so that questions can be resubmitted for a proper response. Because members that has spoken has asked questions, and partly so only some of the questions has been responded to. Mr. Dlamini.
Honorable Chairperson, I would rather await the detailed questions where I have to make a response with specific data accompanying the questions that have been raised, because I wouldn't want to give a verbal response and the honorable member may say, I haven't covered all the necessary issues. So that will be my request if need be. Thank you.
No, then this meeting wasn't necessary, Mr. Dlamini. We're asking questions. It's an open meeting, open-ended meeting to everyone, to the public. And if you don't respond, we will resend those questions that you are not responding to. So I would really want to appeal to you to respond to some of the questions.
Yeah, maybe Chairperson, if the honorable member can just reiterate those questions so I can then...
Mr. Dlamini, I'm sitting here with a pen in my hand. I'm writing all the stuff down that is happening in this meeting. The member has almost spoke for 4 minutes, and she must now rephrase that. Honorable Daniels.
My apologies, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. And good morning to you, to the Minister, DSAC, the entity before us, and to my colleagues. Am I audible, Chairperson?
Yes, you are. Please proceed, Honorable Daniel.
Thank you very much. Chairperson, I don't know if I must pose questions. You've initially summed up this whole movie before us. But let me rather make more statements than asking questions, because I can see where this is going. I want to start with Mr. Dlamini. You know, we all listen differently. Mr. Dlamini says, one of the colleagues came to him and said she's going to the Hawks. Then he said to her, it's your constitutional right to go to the Hawks, you can go. If I was in Mr. Dlamini's shoes and knowing what is going wrong in the entity, I would have not responded in that fashion. I would have said, please go to the Hawks. When somebody says, no, it's your constitutional right, it's meaning the person is saying, well, it's up to you. You can if you want to. I read it very differently, Chairperson. That sums up Mr. Dlamini and therefore his whole posture in this meeting. You know, I can't find it in my heart to pose any questions, because this entity is so full of holes, colleagues, that even the truths and the facts will fall through the same holes that it spoke with.
Oh.
Now, Chairperson, this presentation did not give me the feel of an appetite of urgent or firm intervention. And you did allude to it earlier on. Now, Chair, let me go to this. PACOFS. I need to know, or who's going to answer. Who are the longest serving members in PACOFS? And for how long have they been there? Because I heard some of the members saying, no, we are ordinary members. We came in November 2024, if my memory serves me well. Who's been there pre those dates when those members came on, and for how long? That's my first question, Chairperson. Amongst very few questions.
Can we get a response to that? Either from Mr. Dlamini or Ms. Simelane?
Chairperson, on council, there is no long-serving member. The two long-serving members resigned in January, the ones that were coming from the previous council. They resigned in January.
So can I then safely assume, Chairperson, can I safely assume that everybody that serves on PACOFS has been there since November 24?
Is that correct, Ms. Simelane?
Just to clarify, sir, it's December 24, correctly so.
December 24.
Absolutely.
Everybody that serves there is December 24. There's nobody pre-December 24. Is that a fact?
Chair, if you're referring to council members, yes, that's a fact.
You see, Chairperson, I'm Honorable Daniels. I'm not the chairperson. The chairperson is Honorable McGlue, just for the record, because I don't want confusion to say, no, the chairperson asked these questions when it was me asking the questions. But let me move.
My apologies. I thought for once he said this is talking through the chair, through you, but my apologies if you have seen it in that fashion.
Okay, no, thank you. No, I'm very happy to hear that, because I'll tell you what. I was going to make a recommendation that the DSEC and the minister consider to let everybody go who's been there, because those who've been there, my interest lies in those who are around when this mess started. Because if they are still going to be around, then it's going to be very difficult, because listening to the presentation and picking up the reluctance for firm intervention, I had a sense that maybe the old guard is still around. We've got a thing where we say, Chairperson, who watches the watchman? And most of the crime, a lot of crime that gets committed, the watchman is involved where the break-ins are. So when these things go pear-shaped in the manner that it does and did, it's always the old guy that must take responsibility, because lately we find that nobody wants to take responsibility for things when it goes wrong. They rather point fingers to others. I was just going to go there now, Chairperson. Like I said, there's no point in asking questions. I think, let me rather wrap it up, Chairperson, because the answers are not going to be forthcoming. The truthfulness, I'm not convinced. When I listened to my previous colleagues who spoke previously, I also got a sense that we are wasting our time, and we've been in this movie before, just the other day. I just want to say the following then in closing, Chairperson. That I don't believe that the entire board members must be tainted by this mess inherited by them. As much as they must give account to what has happened, it's the tainting of them and their reputation being part of PACOFS that is now in the balance because of the mess that's been presented to us. Anybody else, if it's not people on the board, who else is there somewhere else in the department that must be held accountable for this mess? And the minister and DSEC must consider removing them. They must be then removed, because you can't keep them there in this mess with a lack of appetite. I can't help also to reflect that, you know, as much as the minister is a cabinet minister representing South Africa, it is true that PACOFS is right there in the backyard of the minister. So I can't imagine, I really can't imagine how painstaking it must be for the minister to witness this. You know,
You can go lock the doors there. The minister can go lock the doors.
It must be very terrible for the minister to do that. Now, you know, I remember, I'll tell you why I've got confidence that this is going to be resolved. I've got confidence that DSEC is going to do what is right after this meeting. I've got confidence that these people are going to be dealt with decisively, those who must be dealt with, because I reflect how disturbed the minister was when he suspected corruption back in the day when he was a district mayor. I was fortunate to be in that space. And when I saw how disturbed the minister was when he suspected corruption, I know how he dealt with it decisively without fear or favor. He wasn't liked, but he believed it's the right thing to do, and this is how we must deal with corruption in the institutions. And I witnessed that firsthand. And on the basis and strength of that, what I've experienced, it is therefore that I put confidence that under the stewardship of the minister, that DSEC will definitely deal with this matter in the way it deserves to be dealt with, Chairperson. That I can tell you, definitely I've witnessed it before, and therefore I believe that decisive action is coming. But I would just like to request DSEC to keep us in the loop, because we can't be in this horror movie and not see the other part of the movie when DSEC starts acting on these culprits. They are called culprits, Chairperson, for the mess they brought this entity into. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. It depends what DSEC has done before. I almost wanted to start singing Zen Zenina. What have we done? The Honorable Mutambi. Please unmute. Followed by the Honorable Khabo and then the Honorable Mtetwa. The Honorable Mutambi, please unmute. Going once. Twice. Honorable Khabo.
No, thank you
Going
very much,
once.
Chairperson.
There we go.
No, thank
Please
you
go
very
for
much.
it.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I understand it's Friday. Am I audible on your side?
Yes, you are. Please proceed.
No, thank you very much, Chair. I understand it's Friday. You are in a hurry, but let me just deal with this one or two things quick. Chairperson, I'm
I
having
can't be in a hurry if the honorable member don't speak. I must ask the next member. Or would you like me to go back to Honorable Mutambi?
No. If I'm not sure if Honorable Mtambi, no. I can take the time now, Chairperson.
Please proceed.
Chair, let me start here. with the department in particular. Part of their presentation, I think PACOFS has missed an opportunity, Chairperson. Let me start here. Has missed an opportunity of also reflecting on the work that they are doing in line with their key responsibility as an entity. They have presented something that we never wanted to see, or something that we never thought would take place or unfold in an institution of the public. I'm raising this because of Chairperson, and I would want the department to clarify this thing. When you look at the presentation of the department for the past 3 years, PACOFS has been unable to reach their targets that they set for themselves. I would want to get a clarity from the department, what type of intervention they've brought in place, let alone these internal squabbles that are taking place, in terms of providing support to this entity in achieving its core mandate. What has the department has done in line with PACOFS failing to adhere or to fulfill their commitment in line with the targets that they have set? Thank you very much, Chair.
Dr. Kumalo, what
Thank
I'm
you,
going to
Chair.
do, Honorable Kabo, what I'm going to do, this question will come up, and I think at the end, I'm going to give Dr. Kumalo that opportunity to speak to us through those interventions. Because if I sense members here, it's like, hey, let's go close shop. But one is we don't know what the implications will be. We have. Boxing South Africa, 20 million rand, same stage. We have a number of millions for basket ball. We have 6 million for SAFA. Here we are dealing with 54 million, and no one can tell us anything about governance. The Honorable Mtetwa.
Chairperson, am I done?
Yeah. My apologies.
No.
I thought you call it a shot, but please go for it.
No, it's fine. My first question was straight to the department, and I'm not sure if you are saying that.
I indicated I'm going to give the department an opportunity at the end to tell us on that
All right.
question.
No, thank you very much,
please
Chairperson.
proceed.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I wanted to go straight to the current CEO, acting CEO, and the former COO. I wanted to get clarity from them for the past 3 years. How much have they spent on their legal fees? If they can give us a breakdown for each financial year, how much they spend on the legal fees. Thank you, Chair. I'll wait for.
Can we respond to Honorable Kabo? I think that's an easy question.
Chair, yes, Chairperson. From 2023, if it's 3 years, we are sitting at about 1.8 million. We have 2024 approximately. Chair, I'll just quickly. Chair, can I give the numbers on the chat? Because they're not in the spreadsheet.
No, you must tell us the numbers. The nation wants to hear.
Okay, 2023.
2023,
it's 1.8 million, Chair. And then 2024, we are sitting at about 1.4. And 2025, Chairperson, we are sitting at approximately 1.4 million, Chair.
Honorable Kabo, please proceed.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I wanted to check also from the current CEO, and in fact, let me leave the current CEO, rather speak to the former CEO. Why is it that matters that were supposed to have been long resolved has been allowed to be dragged for too long, which have a financial implication for the entity? Can Mr. Dlamini provide clarity on that?
Mr. Dlamini?
Thank you very much, Honorable Member and Chair. The reason why certain cases had to take a certain duration was the status of those particular cases. One could not just deal with one case and close it immediately. So one had to follow a specific procedure, both in interacting with the current attorneys that are representing PACOFS. So on that basis, one was taking the advice of the external legal advisors. Two, PACOFS does not have, I think this question was asked before, PACOFS never had a legal unit since its inception. Thank you.
Honorable.
I wanted to get clarity now that you have not been having a legal unit. Internally, how have you been processing legal issues now that you don't have a legal unit since the inception of PACOFS?
Through you, Chairperson, as I've said, we had a panel of attorneys on the database, right? That's one. Two, I think as the current acting CEO has indicated, these are the legal firms that are involved in assisting PACOFS, and that has been the approach since. And as I said, some of them come from 2018, and where those particular attorneys have been involved to provide PACOFS with legal advice. I hope I've answered.
No, you have not answered my question, Mr. Dlamini. We'll get to that part of the legal or to the panel of legal practitioners. We'll get to that part. My question is, how do you then deal with issues internally? There are issues that it is our firm belief, and you also have agreed to that view, that other issues you are supposed to process them internally. There's no need to a large extent for you to involve even the external external forces. My question is, how do you then internally process your issues that are related to either labor disputes? How do you then process those things? Is everything that you get as PACOFS, do you refer everything to your legal practitioners who are providing that legal assistance for the entity?
Through you, Chairperson and Honorable Member, the one followed the internal procedure. If it is a matter where there is a labor dispute, like the example that was already given by the acting CEO of one of the official who was heading OHS and also security. So after the matter was, when the allegations and or the findings were drawn internally, then in order to facilitate that hearing, first and foremost, we had to look at what the policy was indicating in terms of following due process. That was done before. And secondly, the chairperson who was facilitating the hearing, for purpose of staying independent, we then ask the legal firm to conduct that particular facilitation and the outcome thereof. So that's the process that has always been followed with the current cases that actually one has had experience in. The other one also is whereby before the employee who wants to take a matter to the CCMA, there will be a bilateral with a respective employee, and the HR will then engage the respective employee to look at the concerns that the employee has, and then try to find a middle ground to have consensus between the two parties. And at the end of the day, if the employee did not have any he was not happy with the outcome of the discussion or the deliberation, that particular employee would then approach the CCMA. There is a case of that nature that has actually taken place along those lines. I hope I've covered the question. Thank you.
Honorable Cabo, before you proceed, Honorable Potgieter also raised an issue on regarding 12 June 2025, 6 months after the appointment of the current council. And the court found that PACOFS is in contempt of court, exposing the entity to possible fines and additional legal costs. This points to serious governance failures and possible breach of fiduciary duties. And the issue that you raised, Honorable Khabu, is direct to, the fairness within and the issue of a legal entity within PACOFS. So I don't know, Mr. Dlamini, how fair those internal processes was if you have court outcomes of this nature. Can you respond to that?
Yeah, honorable member, the internal structure of PACOFS, especially the HR, one can basically indicate that the expertise were quite limited because you only had two individuals, an HR manager and an administrator supporting that HR manager who has now left. But the rationale would first say, let's look at the rules of the organization, follow through in terms of the rules, and then where there's a technical input, then the legal entities that are on our database will then be taken into account. That's the approach that was taken. But as we speak, PACOFS does not have those particular expertise, including HR. I hope that clarifies the question.
Thank you, Honorable Khabu. Please proceed.
Chairperson, while we are still there, maybe Mr. Dlamini must tell us, why did he decide, including the legal firms that continues to mislead him, in my own view, why did he decide not to adhere to the court order that led to, that plunged an entity into a financial implication crisis unnecessarily? Can you tell us as to why did he comply with the court order?
Mr. Dlamini.
Yeah, Chair, there are two things to the court order. The one is not appearing at the labor court. And at that time, when we asked our attorneys to speak on behalf of of PACOFS, one was not expecting to physically be at the meeting. And until the ruling was made that I must be present at that particular hearing. So I did not expect that there would be that kind of ruling, given the fact that PACOFS had a representative to deal with the matter.
Proceed, Honorable Member.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. The issue of a contempt of court, can the Chair talk to that? Because he's now raising a different matter. I'm asking him a simple question. There is an order of the court that says that the entity has failed to comply with the court order. And I'm asking him, why did he not comply?
Amid the fact that he was appointed on the basis to turn the entity around.
Yes.
Mr. Dlamini. Mr. Dlamini. Yes, Mr. Dlamini went AWOL now.
Chairperson, maybe
He's
while
still
waiting
in the
for
meeting, Chair.
Mr. Khabu.
I was saying, while we are trying to track down Mr. Dlamini so that they respond to this matter, Chairperson. Remember, an individual decision can have an implication on an institution's financial position. And in this case, Mr. Dlamini, as the CEO, obviously, the expectation was that as the head of institution must be able to comply with the court order. Because my understanding is that once the court issues the order that you have contempted, you have deviated from the order that was provided, you should be able to explain as to why did you fail to comply with the initial order. And that is my first question to the CEO. Chairperson, I wanted to go to the Deputy Chairperson. I wanted to get clarity before going to the Deputy Chairperson of the Council. Where are the Chairperson today?
Can we try for the last time for Mr. Dlamini to respond to your question?
Yeah, Chairperson, I was just battling in terms of locating.
I suspect so.
Yeah. So I'm going to not deliberately, but provide background in terms of this particular case and why we were challenging it. I actually made a full submission to council in terms of, and I think the acting CEO has already articulated the different charges, to this particular individual. That's one. Two, when one looked at all the conduct of this particular individual, and the evidence is there, which I've also provided the council with in terms of what was the intention of having an individual whose interest was merely just to, pay attention to finances and not do his particular duty. I went even further to say, if this particular individual had 18 deliverables, for an example, why is it that compared to the current person who's occupying that particular position, the previous, the incumbent was only able to deal with 20% of the deliverables. So I'm using that as just one of the examples that basically said, I cannot, comply with this kind of, notice. And at the same time, I found it to be more biased towards the individual and not to the entity.
Mr. Dlamini, what were the legal grounds for you not to agree with the court order?
Yeah, if I may, Chairperson, the legal grounds they are embedded in the appeal for contempt. So on the basis of that, unfortunately, I don't have it at hand immediately, but the legal basis are articulated quite clearly as to why this particular individual should not be reinstated into the organization. And his case and the previous one are technically not the same. I hope, but I can provide that particular, the Court of Appeal to the members so that it provides details in terms of the legal basis for taking the method for appeal.
No, thank you very much, CEO. What is your understanding of contempt of court?
Well,
I'm not sure, is it my signal, but it seems that Mr. Dlamini have challenges there.
That's the question, Chair, that's posed that causes the challenge with the signal.
Can I ask the current council or someone that was in the previous council, did you have committees, and how did you deal with risk management?
Honorable Chairperson, I seem to not be able to lift my hand. So will you allow me to speak?
Please
It's
go.
Charlie
We
Naidu.
need, please, Ms. Naidu, proceed. We need the information.
Chairperson, I must say, when I also, as my other council members have indicated, joined in December 2024. And at the time that we joined, remember, we're playing an oversight role, and we are basically dealing with matters that the administration brings before us. Chairperson, as soon as the council became aware of the labor matters, I had personally been one of the people that advised to say, we cannot have all these labor matters. We need to look at what matters can be settled. And these matters are, as we can see, they're coming from, the historical matters. And we said whatever could be settled must be settled, because if we're looking at some of the, issues, if it's we are spending far more, amounts on litigation, and resources than actually finalizing the matters. And Chairperson, you will also appreciate that as attorneys, attorneys will drag matters as long as they can because it is beneficial. I'm not saying all these matters are that, but I'm saying it is often the practice. And we had requested that the matters be brought, maybe just with regard to the contempt of court matter, Chairperson. When Mr. Dlamini explained to us why the contempt of court had arisen, it seemed as if um, and for me also I informed council and Mr. Dlamini this was a major risk for us to have taken, not to have complied with the court order and then risk it. So what had happened, in summary, is that Mr. Dlamini appealed the matter, the entity appealed the matter, but I think it was filed late and the contempt of court had already been granted. So, notwithstanding the appeal that Mr. Dlamini had filed, or the entity, the contempt of court had already been given. And I also said, for me, it was a bit of a poor decision making because there's a huge risk, a 4 million rand risk. And why would you take such a risk, just to not reinstate the person as and comply with the court order? So, unfortunately, sometimes, Chair, we had previously taken I would attribute it to poor decision making. Um, and I must say that the current council, you will see in the performance, Chair, from 53 to 73, there has been an improvement in the council. Unfortunately, the council members that were in the previous council also resigned. So we are missing some historical knowledge, but notwithstanding, we are really trying to, address the issues. Chair, with regard to the investigation, Chair, PACOFS, our CFO is always telling us there's not insufficient funds. And I was aware that DSAC also helps with forensic investigation. So we had, approached DSAC to say, can you assist us with this? So, Chair, in a nutshell, I must say that the current council is trying to, really turn things around. It is very difficult. Also, Chair, for you to note that Mr. Dlamini's contract ended on the 26th of January 2026. So we are hoping, Chair, with some new blood, things might change in PACOFS. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Following what Ms.
Chair-
Naidu have said, Mr. Dlamini, can you respond to Honorable Khabo's question on your understanding of a court order?
Chair, is it possible that I can come in before Mr. Dlamini comes in? It's Reverend Mashilo and again, and also just to add to Advocate Charlie Naidu. Chairperson, you have said that we must be transparent here. And I'm going to do just that. Chairperson, we as council feel that when Mr. Dlamini became aware of the contempt of order issue or even of the outcome of the labor matter, he had a duty to inform council at that time. Yes, Chairperson, we do have committees, but Mr. Dlamini waited for the committees to sit and did not report the matter when it occurred or when he became aware of it. Had we become aware as council that there is this outcome, we could have advised otherwise. We could have advised that this matter must not be appealed because we are on a mission to try and reduce the litigation matters on the litigation register. And because he did not give us that opportunity, we are sitting where we are. We first learned of this issue of contempt of order, court order, only when we received questions from the portfolio committee. Then we started asking questions. Then we started requesting reports from Mr. Dlamini. But prior that, we had no knowledge of the outcome of the. And I believe that there are certain matters which you cannot wait for a committee to sit or a council to sit, that must be reported on an urgent basis. More so that there is a lot of money that was involved in that matter. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Dlamini. I think that responses must have ignited you by now to have a response on your understanding of the court order and what has been said.
Yes, Chairperson, I will repeat what I've already said earlier on when I was responding to the previous honorable member, to say that when the matter was presented, we took it up, and this is also on the basis of the advice from HR. It did not just was not just a decision on the basis on my own. At the time, we had a HR manager, and the HR manager was also gave me that particular advice to say that this
No. Sorry, Chairperson. I'm going to plead with you. Mr. Dlamini must not intend to abuse us. My question is straightforward. What is his understanding of contempt of court? Because I want to raise questions based on the issue of contempt of court. His explanation does not hold water. In fact, to a large extent, if I can be bluntly honest, it does not make sense. Even a grade R child will never accept this explanation. He must tell us, because I want to allege, in fact, I want to put it to him, that his actions as an individual has costed an institution money unnecessarily. And that's why I would want to get to council as much as he has resigned or his contract has come to an end. Council must prepare responses to what is it that he's doing with the former CEO. The former CEO must tell us what is his understanding of contempt of court, especially after the explanation, after the explanation of the deputy chair of the council. Thank you very much.
Mr. Dlamini.
Yeah, Chairperson, I'm going to reiterate what I've said before, that the deputy chair indicated another position, and now I work within the protocol of the structures in PACOFS. So PACOFS has got a remuneration, social and ethics committee, and all the matters relating to labor matters or HR matters were actually presented at that particular committee. And the intention of that committee, one would expect that they will then raise specific issues to say that what you are presenting, certain things need to be revisited and so forth. But that was not discussed at that particular point in time. And now the honorable member has made a statement, and I have given my understanding of why the contempt of court was actually challenged, and the previous member also has indicated what the member of council, what the challenges or risks were. And as I said, I'm apologizing if I haven't given a proper answer, but I'll await any outcome, and then we'll take it from there.
Thank you, Honorable Kabo. Please wrap up.
No. I'm just going to stand on this matter of court order. My understanding of contempt of court, Chairperson, is a willful disobedience, disrespect, and defiance of the court authority. The court has issued an order instructing the institution to reinstate an employee. The CEO, who also has a fiduciary responsibility, decides to blue tick the court. He is now trying to explain to us as to which advices he has received. And I would like to get clarity also from the risk and audit chairperson to tell us as to what happened in this process. What was their contribution? Are they saying that they've advised the CEO unilaterally as an individual took a decision that is going to blue tick the court? And if that is the case, chairperson, the council must then take the former CEO to task, because it cannot be that we allow an individual to define himself outside the legal framework of this country. It cannot be accepted, irrespective of the CEO is no longer a CEO in that entity. The deputy chair must tell us his submission.
Can the deputy chair respond? Are you in a position to charge the officials that was involved in the contempt of court?
Chairperson, maybe let me just mention that the contempt of court order in this case, fortunately, is in the personal capacity of Mr. Dlamini, and PACOFS has not been, is not in PACOFS' name. And to that effect, Chairperson, we have set up an ad hoc investigation committee to look in this matter, and that committee will be reporting to the council in the next ordinary council meeting. So this matter is being investigated, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kabu. I hope you're satisfied with that response.
I'm satisfied. In fact,
Please wrap
Chairperson,
up.
the Deputy Chair must tell us maybe while he's still there. When did they begin to establish this ad hoc committee? And why is it that more than a year that they've been in office, it seems that it's only now they are taking action? In fact, you must tell us why today they have not yet charged their former CEO. If you can respond to those three questions, Chairperson, others I'll submit them in writing, but very soon we'll have to pay them a visit. Very, very soon, this thing of visual, we must bring them to Cape Town. Clearly, there is some unguided arrogance in terms of responses here, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Kabu. Reverend?
Chairperson, let me just state that we all know by now that Mr. Dlamini's contract has come to an end. In January, I must mention that there has been an attempt by Mr. Dlamini to get his contract renewed, and council took a decision not to renew that contract, and I think for obvious reasons. Some of these things were taken over by events, and the CEO was on his way out in any event. But we have said we are still going to continue with that investigation that we can do internally. And we still intend.
Reverend, what are you investigating?
There's a court order.
There's a court order, contempt of court order. What are you investigating?
It's not only just the court order matter, Chairperson, but it's also the governance gaps that have happened. We want to know why certain things were not done and why certain things were done in a particular way.
Thank you. I'm going to give an opportunity to Honorable Mtetwa, followed by Honorable Mutambi, followed by Honorable Kunu, and then I'm going to give a final bite at the cherry to Honorable Molatsani. Honorable Mtetwa, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Chair and honorable members, Minister, the department, and I'm going to change the name of PACOFS into Litigation Arts Center of the Free State instead of Performing Arts, because I don't think you are doing your core duty in helping those who are performing. I think you are consumed by litigations and courts, and this. What I've heard today is just court, this litigation after litigation. Let me go straightly to the issue of resignations. You have resignations that have just recently happened. What were the cause of those resignations? PACOFS?
Chairperson, I'm not sure if the honorable member is referring to resignations that occurred in the council, or if you're referring to resignations that have happened in the administration. And I will restrict myself to the resignation that have happened in the council. We have 3 council members who have resigned, and one member, I think one member cited that he has a practice, a legal practice that he needs to attend, and that needs his attention. The second letter that came from Ms. Mosala just also mentioned that she has other things to attend to, and she is no longer having time for council matters. In any event, that member was never in most of the meetings, and the recent resignation was Ms. Kanyile Makosazana, and her letter is really silent, except to say that she is resigning. It could be, one assumes that people find that the challenges in PACOFS are way too much for them to handle, but the remaining members that are here, we are committed to turning PACOFS around. We are not going to run away. We are going to stay up until the end, and we are going to ensure that next time we come to the portfolio committee, we are going to give a report that is satisfactory and which will show that we have done something about the allegations and concerns that have been raised here. Thank you, Honorable Member.
Department, what would be the process? What would be the process or the procedure of filling up the posts that have been left by the council members? Sanyane?
Yes. May I ask that that question also be responded at the end when they are closing, Honorable Mtetwa? Or do you have a follow-up on it?
Yes, Chair.
Okay. No, then the department please respond.
Thank you, Chair. In terms of the process, what then will follows is to look at the list of the candidates that were interviewed, because normally when the panel interviews more candidates, and those that are left in the pool who had performed well for the interviews, we then go back to that list to actually replace the council members that would have resigned.
Honorable Mtetwa, let me piggyback on your question. The department also later give us a list on how many boards those council members served that are there currently. Thank you, Honorable Mtetwa.
Hey, you're taking my questions, Chair.
Sorry, man.
Okay, in the management, you have 3 positions that the resignations that happened. In fact, 3 positions that are open. You have the chief executive officer, which now you have the acting currently, and then artistic director and human resource. How is PACOFS or LACOFS Litigation Arts Center is dealing with the issue of permanent employments, and what were the reasons for these resignations? I know the CEO, the term has lapsed, but the artistic director and human resource, how are you dealing with the issues? What were the reasons for them to resign, and how are you dealing with the issue? And how are you providing services without these key positions currently?
Chairperson, may I humbly request that the acting CEO responds to that question?
That's fine, Reverend.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair, and through you, Chair, just to respond to Honorable Mtetwa. The 3 vacant positions, as you indicated, the CEO position, it's due to contractual contract coming to an end, and with the HR and artistic director, what resolution that was taken with the previous CEO, he was handling those portfolios. But what we have decided with the remuneration ethics, social and ethics committee, is that these positions must be filled in the new financial year. There has been traction, unfortunately, with the resignations that recently happened with council not constituting. We cannot finalize anything that has to be approved by council until such time that we have the replacement members, so that we can take out the positions. We have an appointed service provider that is assisting us in terms of recruitment of these key positions, and these are the positions that are earmarked for the 26-27 to be filled. Thank
How
you,
have you
Chair.
appointed, how have you appointed the service provider?
The service provider was appointed through SCM in December 2024. We issued an RFQ for the services that we needed. It went through evaluation, and because it's an RFQ, it didn't go through adjudication, but then it followed the entire value chain of supply chain management processes.
Can we be assured that it followed the correct procedure, considering that the Auditor General has found most of your appointments in terms of procurement of services to have gone wrong, where you didn't even check the compliance of those companies? Is this one not going
Thank
to?
you.
Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Mtetwa. Just on that one, it has gone through audit because we were appointed in 2024. So Auditor General has looked at it. And just to give context, the majority of the irregular expenditure that is cited by the Auditor General is coming from the procurement of the artistic program. This is due to the fact that there were gaps in the artistic policy, which was then revised and amended by the current council and approved on 30 October, just to close the gaps in relation to how we procure our artistic services. So that's where about 90% of the irregular expenditure is coming from, not from your goods and services, but from the procurement of the artistic program. The true litmus test that is going to happen is in this current financial year, but we have tried and closed all the gaps that were raised by the HESA previously on how we procure artistic services. Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Tsanyane, when did you send the list of the law firms?
Chair, Honorable Member, that response went yesterday, as the council has indicated.
So you sent the list yesterday before coming to the portfolio committee. Why law firms, Mr. Tsanyane? Why not?
Honorable Member, for
Why
investigations.
Why not forensic auditors, forensic investigators? There are companies that investigate. Why law firms? And how do you select those law firms? Two questions. Why law firms? How do you select the law firms?
Honorable Member, we use a list of the panel that is in the department. There's a list that is with our supply chain that is used when you request for quotations for the services. Obviously, they are categorized because there are law firms that do conduct forensic investigations. So we provide them with the list that is in the department.
So the list you selected certain, or you just gave them all?
No, we gave
all firms that are in the list.
No, we supply the list of all those that are available, categorized under investigations.
Right, Mr. Dlamini, content of court. You're talking about the appeal. It's an after effect procedure when you talk about appeal. The content of court, as Mr. Honorable Haulatli has indicated, who paid for it? Who paid for you having committed that content of court? Who paid for the compensation of that person that you were found to have wrongfully dismissed?
Through you, Chairperson, as I said, I was representing PACOFS, and the institution will obviously be able to pay the bill.
Chairperson or Deputy Chairperson, is this correct? This contempt was against, you said the contempt was against Mr. Dlamini. How does PACOF end up now having to take the cost for that?
What?
Deputy Chair, are you still there?
Reverend, can you
Paying
respond to
that
that?
4 million. Thank you, Chair.
Can I be answered, please?
But if you heard me, it could be that there's a network challenge here. But I did not hear Mr. Dlamini's response, but I'm saying that Mr. Dlamini, as I've said earlier, has been cited. The contempt of court order is in his personal capacity and not in PACOFS. And PACOFS will not be paying for that contempt of court order because PACOFS is not cited. It is Mr. Dlamini who will be responsible and liable for the whole amount. And council will not be footing the bill. Thank you.
Order, Chair.
Mr. Dlamini?
Honorable Tetwa, there's a point of order. Honorable Daniels, what is your point of order?
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, this is not coincidental. I'm calling Mr. Dlamini to order through you, Chairperson. Every time when the questions are probed to him and he's got no answer, then there's a connectivity problem. That cannot be a coincidence. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Daniels. Order sustained. I'm going back to Honorable Tetwa, but before you
Thank you, Chair.
proceed, Mr. Dlamini, can you respond to the question of Honorable Tetwa?
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and my apology for giving, as the Deputy Chairperson has indicated, that this is a case between myself and Mr. Mulesani. So I'll await the process that must unfold, and I'll take it from there. So it will be myself and the court. Thank you.
Mr. Dlamini, misleading the portfolio committee is a contempt on its own.
I'm not misleading. Sorry, Chairperson, through you. I was not misleading.
No,
Mr.
Dlamini,
you gave an answer.
Give the honorable member an opportunity. He's making a statement. He's not saying that you are. He is making a statement for you to consider if anyone consider or try to lie to this committee. He is trying to explain the process. Please proceed, honorable member.
No, thanks, Chair. I think I will leave that part because if he's quick at responding to that, when he's not quick at responding to other questions, it's a problem. I was just saying to him, if he's misleading this portfolio committee, he could face criminal charges because we serve as commissioners in this particular space. And he gave a question, I mean, an answer that contradicts what the Deputy Chairperson is saying, Reverend. But be that as it may. Council, Mr. Morris, is Mr. Morris here with us? Is Mr. Morris, Mr. Dr. Dichabe, Mr. Plaki? Are they here?
From the look of things, it seems that they are all
Chairperson,
present.
I'm sorry to just come in. I did submit an apology for Mr. Plaki this morning during introductions. Dr. Sipati Dichabe, I have seen her in the meeting. I have seen Mr. Norris. It's not Mr. Morris, it's Mr. Norris, Quintin Norris. He is here in the meeting.
Mr. Quintin Norris, how many other boards do you serve?
Currently serving, Honorable Chair, sorry, through you, Chairperson. Honorable Member, I'm serving on the War Museum and on PACOFS.
Are you a member of PA?
That's correct, Honorable.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Dichabe, how many other boards do you serve?
I'm serving on, on the African Geographical Names Council, Honorable Member, and on PACOFS. The SAGNC and PACOFS.
Okay. And why Mr. Norris and Dr. Dichabe, you are not listed in the department's list of people who are serving more than one board? Did you declare?
Honorable Mteto, I think that question must go to the department.
To the
It was not-
department?
Yes, please.
I wanted to find out if they did declare that they are serving other boards. Or the department can respond. Department, why these members, Dr. Dichabe, Mr. Plaki, Mr. Norris, were not on your list of people who are serving more than one entity?
The department?
Yes, can I just, because I need to check the spreadsheet, Honorable Chair, I thought they were included. I don't want to speak out of 10, the two, but for Dr. Dichabe, the South African Geographical Names Council is not classified as a public entity, so we were listing the ones that serve in the public entities. Not that council is not classified as a public entity. So, but Chair, may you
And that
allow
one
me
is
to
a Schedule 3A.
Yes, can you allow me to quickly check the presentation that we submitted with the list?
In the meantime, you can proceed, Honorable Mteto.
Chair, it is difficult to really prompt answers from this session because it seems like people are not willing to respond. And I would submit other questions through. I wanted to find out something about the budget. You know, you indicated that you spent about 1.8 2023, 1.4 2024, 1.4 2025. In terms of your budget on your core responsibilities, what percentage would this entail versus the budget that you must spend on artists, on helping and assisting artists to develop? CEO or CFO?
Thank you very much, Chair. I'll just follow the trend in terms of the years that we had looked at on the legal fees. 2023, Chairperson, we spent approximately 5 million core business. That would be about 10%. 2023-24, we then spent about 7 million. There was an overspending there, Chair, that was coming from the core business, the artistic program. And because in 2024-25, we were rolling over the artistic program. So whatever was left over and could not be performed in 2023-24, were rolled over. So in that year, we only spent what was coming from that previous financial year. I think it was approximately just under 2 or 3% of the budget. I'll just have to double check, Chair, but that's how it has been. So nothing less than 4 million in the previous financial years, but then obviously because of the fiscal pressure and the cuts that we have received, that is slowly decreasing. About 72 or 74% of our budget goes to the compensation of employees, and only 26% is left for core business and day-to-day operations and contractual obligations, your security, your ICT network, and other key day-to-day contractual obligations. Thank you, Chair. The CFO can augment on this one.
Performing Arts Center of the Free State. You are spending more money on salaries. If I'm not, if I stand to be corrected, the highest percentage in terms of the items that you spent on in your budget, it would be salaries. Is that so?
Unfortunately, that's how it is, Honorable Mteto, through you, Chairperson. We have in the funded post, we have about 61 employees that are sitting in the funded post. We have 31 general workers whose contract are coming to an end in 2027 April.
No, that's fine.
So
That's fine.
we
I
have
don't need the figures of employees. I want to show you something just to prompt your conscience that you have so much money spent on employees, yet PACOFS cannot deal with the issues internally with all that staff complement. It has to then source for service providers to do the work. Minister, I want to say to you, this is one entity that you were supposed to say no with the budget that you are giving. SASCOC is getting 12, dealing with so many entities. This entity is dealing with province, just one province, but it gets 54 million, which it spends on legal costs, it spends on service providers. We still have to even investigate on that. How many service providers? In fact, Chairperson, through you, we must get a list of service providers that have been appointed from 2023 to 2025, the profiles of those companies, and we want to know, I want to know in terms of those who are in the procurement division or department, who amongst them has been found wanting? What has the entity done with those people? Are they the part of those who were removed, who were dismissed from their work? Is there anybody within that streamline of procurement who has been dismissed? Minister, to you, I'm saying this is one entity that I want to say, I would want to recommend that you put this entity under administration. This is one entity that is not showing any capacity, in fact, it is very reluctant. You can hear there's so much reluctancy. All these things that they are promising to do, they gathered them for this particular reporting session. As you can hear, that the list of law firms came yesterday, yet they've been there for the whole year. That will be my closing part, but I want to get the answers to the question list. No, the list, they can provide the list after. Who are the people who are involved in procurement, who have been involved in procurement, who have been found wanting, and who have been dismissed or consequence management has been applied on? Amongst all these litigations that you have, do you have people from procurement? Why haven't you charged the CEO? Because he's an accounting officer. He's been an accounting officer on that. Who in the board has been charged? Because there must be a committee, an internal audit committee that failed to look into the issues. You must have somebody in the finance committee that, please give us the list of people that were found wanting within these structures and not junior staff, because that's what normally happens in these situations. People sacrifice junior staff for their sins. And also Department of Arts and Culture, equally so. For so many years, 2018 to now, you're only sending a law firm yesterday. Before this, what has happened? What is the minister going to do with the person who was responsible for these entities and kept on watching these entities getting money without any performance? Thanks, Chair.
Honorable Mtetwa, thank you so much. I'm now going to give, we are running out of time. I'm now going to give the Honorable Mutambi an opportunity.
Thank you so
Honorable
much.
Mutambi,
Thank
unmute.
you so much, Chair. And my apologies earlier. I visited the bathroom when you called my name.
It's fine.
I'm sorry about that. Let me quickly start with the entity itself. I get certain things that don't add up here. And I should think we need to set the matter straight, especially with regard to the responsibility of the council. Because really, now that there's a resignation, it means then I heard the administrator saying that they can't even meet. And then I think it's a clarion call to the minister. It's either the minister dissolve this council so that, because if it can't meet, then there's something wrong. But then I'm wanting to follow up on the issue of the CEO with the contempt of court order. Reverend, I want to take you to the party to say, did you ever read the judgment? Because to come here and say this is in relation to the former CEO personal capacity is wrong. Because let me quickly rephrase, and for the benefit of the members, I had the opportunity to go through the court order on the contempt. It says order 1, Themba Dlamini in his capacity as CEO of PACOFS is found guilty of the civil offense of contempt of court. Then it's imposed a fine of 1,400. So it referred to him in his capacity as CEO of the. That's why the issue of misleading Parliament colleagues, we need to be very much careful, because the information that is coming from the deputy chair, I don't think is misaligned, because the court order is very specific to that effect. So I don't even understand why then the council will say they are still investigating, because under the circumstances, the matter, the court judgment is very clear. So whatever happened, and more so, I heard the official who's acting CFO reporting that there was compliance with this court order. So I don't know what is the matter, because the official affected was reinstated in line with the court order. Why should this matter again surface? This is the matter that I want the deputy chair of the board to reflect to, because it's not in line with what the court order has been saying. Having said that, Chair, again, my worry is the worry of the Hollywood, as you said earlier, the acting positions in the entity. Is there a plan to fill these vacancies? And if when are they going to fill these vacancies? Because I'm get worried, Chair, to hear that people are even appointing a service provider to recruit, whereas the board has got committees and there are people who are responsible. At what cost when you appoint a service provider to recruit, whereas there's capacity inside? And then you're spending most of your money in salaries, paying for people who are not doing their job. Can we get a reconciliation of the two, Chair? Because it's worrisome that people who come here, you have got people who are supposed to do the board, you have got council committees that are supposed to do the work, you still appoint a service providers. These are the issues that one want to understand. There's an interesting matter about one Mr. Mutlosi who was doing remunerative work that is not declared in the entity. So that's the reason why then you'll also outsource, because how did it happen? And the worst part of it, to say somebody's in the institution and then he needs to get permission to do remunerative work, and then you don't pick it up in the institution. What kind of institution is that? Then we are being given now that there's a decision that the allegations must be investigated. You want to investigate somebody who has already left the organization, at what cost? And what is the interest? If you fail to pick up the problem while the employee was there, now you want to do it after the fact. What is it that you want to achieve under the circumstances? The other interesting matter that I felt and we need to deal with is this issue on the allegation of Mr. Lingao on the bribe of 1,500. It's very interesting to read it under the circumstances, because I'm trying to get, is Mr. Lingao still in the employ of the institution? And then what does the policy state out about gifts and thank yous from suppliers? And when was this matter registered? And then at what stage is the investigation, and what position is Mr. Lingao holding? Because you can see also there's no appetite to deal with these issues. There are certain employees that, to me, they are being the employees that are being protected over the other ones. So these are some of the issues that one want to quickly raise. I'm reading also on the department presentation, Chair. The acting CFO is 18. And then she started acting on 26 January. For how long is she going to act? Is there a plan to fill all these positions, including the one of the CEO as well? the CEO's contract is ending 30 September 2029, then it's acting as well. What is the plan? How do you allow for vacancies? It's again the issue of the oversight responsibility of the council. How do you allow, because you know there's HR planning that needs to take place, Chair. How do you allow for position then to terminate, and then you allow, and then the way the department's presentation is put here on the artistic director a position, it's so it is vacant, and I think this position is the key position for the institution. How do you then function whereas you don't have an artistic director? And on the face value of this presentation, there is no even indication as to when these positions are going to be filled. So I should think a minister must take us to confidence here and share with us what is view on the governance of the matters of this institution. Minister, is this institution performing as it is expected to do? But then also then in the sense that why don't you then put this institution under administration? Because we cannot punish the people, the people who are utilizing this entity, the artists themselves, by people who are just busy with their maleficence, people who are not interested in saving the community. So we want to understand the politics around this with regard to what the minister will say. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Honorable Mutambi. The final speaker on the issue will be the Honorable Mkunu, and I'm going to give Honorable Moletsani a second bite at the cherry as I indicated, but 3 minutes. Honorable Mkunu.
Thank you, Chairperson. The presentation by Inle PACOFS raises deeply troubling concerns about e-governance, accountability, and the management of public institutions responsible for promoting our country's cultural development. So, Chairperson, public funds must support artists and cultural development, not governance failures and endless litigation. So I have just one question. Most of the questions are covered. The question is, in light of the governance failures presented today, what justification can PACOFS give this committee for not recommending a reduction or conditional review of its budget allocation? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Honorable Moletsani. Please unmute. The Honorable Moletsani, please unmute. Honorable members, I don't know what to say and how to end this meeting, but all what I can say is that we are standing at the threshold, and it seems to me that the doors are no longer gateways for opportunities for the people that the Honorable Mtetwa and Honorable Matahung and Honorable Mkobani love so much. The barriers that we are facing here today can actually remind us, but it's crystal clear that it seems that this entity reached its end. I've never in my entire life for this year heard a presentation of this nature that not telling us we have done this, there was performance there, and this has happened, and this one is overseas, that this one succeed. No one. There is not one sentence of progress amid the fact of 54 million rand. We must acknowledge this. And we also want to honor those that is present and that has attempt to build, even as we recognize that we are actually playing with the lives of practitioners. But I think today we have been taught so many lessons, a number of lessons. And if I had my own will, even now it's a Schedule 3 a public entity, I would have closed shop. But the fact that it's a public entity, Schedule 3A, we can't. We can't. There's a clarion call by Honorable Mutambi, Honorable Daniels, all honorable members. For some time, I thought that we are wasting our time. But it's good to listen, and it's good that these things happening. I'm also would not want the department to say anything, and even the minister. But it was for me getting out of my, I don't know, can I say old world, or out of my body, and looking down on a 54 million. And if I had my will, I would have said scandal. There should be attempts to save this entity, and very quickly so. So what I would want to suggest is that we must have discussions with Dr. Kumalo and the minister, have some tea and coffee. Minister, ons moet thee drink and bietjie coffee and biscuit, so that we can discuss this way forward. But we are not going to prevent members to keep entities and federations accountable. It is our job. The day we will stop this is the day when the minister and the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture give zero to entities. Then we can stop it. But as long as they're going to get money from Parliament, we want to know what happened to that 1,500 rand? What happened to that 2 rand? We want to know, because it's the people's money. So I would suggest now, and I would draw my earlier statement about the professional staff to get the minutes. The department, and I think the ministry also have their own PLOs. What are they called? They must summarize and dish and bring up all these things that has been raised by the honorable members, and they must see through it that we get the necessary information. That is very important. And that both the ministry and the department, or whoever, must come up with a concrete plan on what have they done and what are they doing currently to save this. But I can tell you, Minister, ons is hier besig om in 'n byenes vir ons vas te loop. We've learned wonderful things through arts and culture. Must save the mosquitoes and save the flies, because they also contribute to the ecosystem. But die bye het ons vandag gesteek, minister, seer. We have been stung by the bees today, all over the show, everything that has been given to us. I am not going to ask you to respond to staff, minister. I'm going to give us a positive message as the portfolio committee to say, you'll come back, we will meet, we can meet. We know everyone is busy, everyone runs around, but we must come together. We cannot, there's just no way that we can throw 54 million and sit with reports of this nature. It's a downright shame. The Honorable Minister, Gayton McKenzie.
Thank you. Let me switch on my camera again. Thank you so much, Chair. And thank you to the members. Chair, I even have more bad news for you and for the committee members. Upon us taking over, what you see in PACOFS is not only PACOFS. there's a trend in these entities. What we heard today is what we have come to find out is the department is prevalent in most of these entities. We then said we want to have a two-pronged approach, Chair. The first approach is to do an action team, to go in there and help these entities. Mr. Tanyani can report on the work of that action team and how far it is. But the main thing that we've seen, where the money is just disappearing needlessly, and we came up with, it's the first time I'm mentioning it here, Chair. Because people pay legal fees, they stay in court. People hire people sometimes as incompetent. So the first move as a new minister I'm going to make together with DSEC is we're going to centralize, we're going to have shared services for all 27 entities. Now, what will the purpose of that be? You have 27 entities, for instance, that's got 27 legal people, getting them lawyers. But if things are centralized, there's more control over it. We will then know to say, if you have a COSEC, they have 27 COSECs. Now you ask yourself, what is that COSEC doing? Because these people are meeting once in 2 months. What is it? So, but if we have 6 COSECs that can service all the entities, we will save, Chair, we've already counted, we will save close to 150 million just on the back of a box calculation. We will also know exactly what's happening. We will also know that you would not have an issue where people are going around doing what they're doing. So I'm not one that's going to defend nonsense, Chairperson, with respect. What you heard here today, there's nothing to defend. We have incompetent people in positions. But as the accounting officer, I'm asking for 30 days from the thing so that we can take action. You know, Chair, we've appointed a new board, and the fiduciary duties of the board is to do exactly what the portfolio committee is asking today. The board cannot come here, Chair, today and say, we are going to do that, we are going to do that. They've been appointed, Chair, in December, I think, 2024. We are in 2026. They should come to this committee today and say, we have fired this person, we fired that person, we fired this person. But they can't be as amazed as the portfolio committee. Like they don't have access to the paperwork. They don't have access to the people that should be amazed here, quite frankly. It's not the department. It is the portfolio committee. Now, when people have been given, the board has been given ample time, Honorable Chair, to sort out these problems that the portfolio committee is highlighting now. So the fiduciary duty fell on all board members to have sorted this out. It's obvious they also were in dereliction of their duties, because it can't be a case of he says, she says, and when people resign, for me, that should never be it shouldn't be an impediment to finding the truth. Because once you can be called by the portfolio committee, you can be called to account, even if if I'm no longer a minister, you can still call me and say, come back, come and answer these matters. And I have no right to say no, because it happened during my term. So in conclusion, say, no one from this department will defend anything. What we are talking about, the extra was not specifically at PACOFS, but it was for all our entities to say, let's get professionals to help them. And that is the project that we are busy with. But that's not an excuse. But I needed to just give the, using your words, Chair, a bite to the cherry of what our plans are with all these entities. Because some of them have lawyer friends. Some of the entities, lawyer friends, Chair. Now, these lawyer friends of them lives off these entities. It doesn't have other cases, doesn't have other customers. It's only, no, let's start a fight and then you must bill us. Like you swear they are the business is that. So when I land my plane, I just want to thank the committee first, Chair. And in 30 days, Chair, you can mark, we must come back as the department. And we must come and tell the committee, what have you done with everything that you've heard here? Chair, we can't ask for more time. I'm asking the indulgence in 30 days, I must come and report and say, because maybe the problem is by us in 30 days. If we don't come here and report, how are we fixing this mess? Because Honorable Mtetwa, I can understand you all say the same thing, that we must close shop. Unfortunately, we can't, you know. we can't
Honorable
close shop.
Mtetwa will be sitting without job, Minister.
Yes, legally we can't. It's like sometimes you feel like chasing away your own kids when they like, Daddy, we need this. You're like, just go visit your friends, but it's your kids, your kids. They always coming back. This entities is the kids of the portfolio committee. You can't chase us away. So I'm saying that in 30 days we shall, myself and the DG of this department, DG Stella Komalo, very capable woman. We must come and report to this committee, not the CEO, the board. We will also report what will happen to the board. But 30 days I'm asking for. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Honorable
Chair,
Minister.
I said put them under administration, not to close shop.
Who's going to sue? Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, let me also use this opportunity for members of this portfolio committee who go out, who collect and is assertive and bring issues to this committee. And there are so many of them. And the reason for today was because also of oversight, as I've said, from the side of Honorable Molatsani. But it is also clear, honorable members, that we have been for so long on the soccer pitch with federations. And our researcher and content advisor will be the most happier. Maybe we should consider changing directions to arts and culture. Because what we've heard here today, one wonders how many other cases similar to this one we will meet one day. But to the department, to the minister, to the honorable members, to PACOFS, to former members of PACOFS, to current members of PACOFS, to those acting and those who are still in court cases, I want to make use of this opportunity to say thank you for coming. Thank you for enlightening us on the way how we can take PACOFS forward together. We are reaching out as a committee also towards the department, how we can take entities of this nature forward. With that said, I declare this meeting closed, and also a great thanks to the professional staff members for their work in this regard. Thank you so much and enjoy the weekend.
Thank you so much, Chairperson.
Thank you ever so much, Chair.